It is November 8th, and welcome to State of the Game. I'm your host, JP McDaniel, and on the show today we have Wolf, we've got Todd, and we've got QXC. Apollo had to go do some British stuff in England. I think he's getting his visa or something like that. He couldn't find adequate internet, so because of that, he's no longer on the show this week. But I'm sure he'll be back next week or whenever he gets all that sorted out. So, also, I'm a little bit tired. I did MLG Dallas this past week, and I think everyone else was there. Wolf's a little bit tired because it's 6 a.m. where he lives, and he's been at the PC Bong for, I think, an hour right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half, something like that. I don't have internet in my new house, so I've been kind of traveling around from PC Bong to PC Bong to get internet. Sorry about the beeping.
Yeah, the beeping is his webcam. We couldn't fix it. Just deal with it. So probably a little bit of a tamer cast this episode. But regardless, we do have a big event to talk about, and it's awesome because I no longer represent MLG, so people won't think I'm just shilling. They'll think I'm actually talking about the event. We'll be talking about that. Blizzard WCS announcing the caster lineup. ESWC, the LoneStar Clash, we'll be previewing that. GSL's got a lot of things going on. It had its G-Star HotS tournament, I think, started last night. It's more of a show match series than anything, not really a tournament. And then, of course, CodeS will be the final thing we talk about here. But let's go ahead and start with MLG Dallas. Just first impressions, QXC, what'd you think of the event?
It was pretty much what I expected. They didn't really do much that was different at this MLG. It felt like pretty much all the other ones. And in terms of consistency, that's good, but it would have been nice if they had thought of something new and interesting to put to the event or make it a little more easy on the players. The schedule is pretty stupid. It's always been stupid. If you go into the losers bracket and on Saturday you can end up playing for like 8 or 9 hours in a row where you can't really eat, and it's always been like that, and it's always really frustrating to deal with.
Yeah. I think that's a good kind of point to start off with. With an organization like MLG, you know, when they announced that they were going to have these 4 distinct seasons, one thing that popped into mind, obviously I was working there, but I always thought, like, well, does that mean each one's going to be the same? Like, there's never going to be a change in anything, really, from championship to championship? And I think that was fine for, like, the first 2, but as the year went on, it became more of the same, and people, they knew what to expect, but there weren't any surprises, you know? I think Anaheim had the Keswick players. That was a pretty nice surprise, but this one, there wasn't like anything big like that. Do you agree, Todd?
Well, where do I begin, man? This was my second MLG. The first one was Anaheim, not the last one, the one before that, and it had one of the most stacked open bracket ever. And this one was pretty tough as well. But yeah, the schedule, something needs to be changed, in my opinion. I was talking extensively with a lot of people, especially after I was done with the tournaments, because that's all you want to do, like try to figure out what could be done better.
Right.
And I don't know what you guys think, but I thought there is the ranking system. Obviously, they're going to keep that, and they're going to keep using something like that. There's also qualifiers, but look at one of the tournaments that's most appreciated by the players. That's DreamHack. And everybody starts on even grounds. There is, depending on which tournament it is, there is either 16 or 32 groups of 4 players or more. There is an open bracket as well, and the players that qualify through it, they're added into some of the groups. And I just think it runs so smooth, so I don't understand why MLG doesn't try to inspire themselves from that. Like, at the events, how do you follow the tournament? Like, there is such a huge bracket, the system is so complicated. As a spectator, how do you follow the tournament? You just basically go to the stage and watch whichever game is showing on there, but it's really, really hard to actually know what's going on and who might play against who later on. I think they're making it something very complicated when it could be so simple. So yeah, I really didn't like the schedule and the format too much, personally.
They do have is the bracket up at the information area or booth or whatever, is that open bracket or is that championship bracket? Is it even updated?
There's no digital bracket ever.
It's all handwritten,
by
right?
MLG, yeah. There's the championship bracket is always filled in by hand on the whiteboard.
Okay.
Which is pretty strange because you'd think they could just like put a screen there
Right.
and have
Right.
an update because they've got 2 screens doing other things. It's really frustrating that they don't provide any information about like your actual open bracket. If you want to see who you're going to be playing in a couple of rounds from now, you always have to find someone with a phone or like look it up on one of their computers. That I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough. It's annoying. What are you getting at, QXC?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
I think that for me, I mean, as a spectator, I think the open bracket can create some excitement, sort of, because in some ways it's like, okay, well, this player is coming here from the open bracket. Maybe an awesome Korean player has never played at MLG before, or a foreigner is doing really well, and it's like, okay, he's going to do this crazy, almost insurmountable task, and maybe he can do it, and maybe he can't. And that could be kind of exciting, but I really agree with what Todd's saying in that as a spectator, also, it's really frustrating and hard to follow if your player that you want to watch this game is not streamed. You just constantly have to be kind of F5ing Liquipedia or something to try to figure out how he's doing, because otherwise you're not really going to know unless somebody tweets about it. So that's something that I think is a little bit hard to follow sometimes at MLG.
It almost. I mean, I'm looking through the brackets right now. There are. Is it 8? 8? Yeah, 8 winners brackets in the open bracket, and then losers is even larger. I think there's. Oh no, there's also 8 there, and those go on. Do losers? Does losers open finish on Friday, or does that start up Saturday morning? Do you guys know, QXC and Todd?
I'm pretty sure losers starts Saturday.
Okay. Because I know there were some issues with what was played through losers on Saturday night, because I think I saw a tweet from Rhett saying that he was going to the spa or something like that to relax, to prepare for his loser round match the next morning. And he had a match in about an hour after that. So I don't know if he made that, if someone contacted him or what.
Oh yeah, there was some drama about that. Red showing up late to the match against Suppy and.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, so what I think the full story was that he showed up, and it was already 2-0 for Suppy. Rhett said, "Hey, let's do the match. I'll let you start up 1-0." Right? Is that how it was?
Something like that. I don't know the specifics, but I do know they played. Rhett was down 1-0, and then Suppy 2-0'd him.
Yeah. So, kind of a shame. I think the same thing happened somewhat to Crank on Saturday night. He was. I don't know where he got the information from. I don't think it was MLG. I think he was going off the website, and the times were sorted for Eastern or something like that. I don't know. It was a clusterfuck there on Saturday night. A lot of people were missing their matches. But in terms of scheduling, do you think that? I mean, MLG's always been one to kind of keep the same throughout the year. They don't really change that much. I'm hoping that in 2013 they change a lot. But is copying DreamHack something that just seems natural to you, Todd? Copying their format?
I just think it would be ideal. And as far as schedule goes, there is basically, at some point, there is none for MLG. Like, I had my match against Crank. It was, I think, winners round 5 on the second day. Mm-hmm. And I lost 1-2. And then I was told, like, you have to wait maybe 4 or 5 hours. So I was already pretty upset by that. And I went back to the hotel and I kept refreshing the Liquipedia. And I saw there was 2 matches waiting to happen. I guess somebody against QXC and then the winner against Cozy User, and then I will play the winner. And I kept refreshing the bracket, but no one of those matches was played. So I was like, since I was so tired, I went to bed and I put my alarm for like 1 hour 30 and later. And I just wanted to take a nap before playing. And after 50 minutes of sleep, I'm basically waking up, someone tells me I have to rush to the venue, otherwise I'm going to be forfeited. So I just don't even have time to splash my face with water or like awaken myself. So I just rushed to the venue, and I was told that basically at the time I arrived, if I had arrived 2 minutes later, I would have been forfeited. So the same thing as Crank would have happened to me, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I ended up playing, and I played pretty bad because of these two. So yeah, I was pretty upset after that, and I really think there should be some kind of schedule, you know, because they just try to play all the games as soon as possible. So because of that, they can't give you a time. And not giving a time to a player and telling him you're going to have to wait between 4 and 5 hours, it just seems so wrong. Because you can stay at the venue, but you're still not going to know when you have to play. You don't know where you have to warm up. You don't know when you should eat exactly. Everything comes into consideration. I'm actually curious what happened to you, QXC, what's your story? Like I just told you mine. How did it went before I lost? But what happened to you?
The first day, I just had some trouble sleeping. I didn't rest enough before the event, and I had a pretty bad headache. And then the second day, I play with Ghost User a lot, and his ZVT is pretty strong right now, so I tried doing some builds that I don't really practice that much, and my 2-racks didn't work, my Hellion drop worked, and then we played a really long macro game on Ohana that I just made some mistakes, I lost. I didn't really have any condition problems on the second day, but...
Oh, so you feel you played your A game, like the schedule didn't affect you at all?
Well, I started, like, because I knew when my first match was, and then I was playing constantly until my match against Ghost User, there wasn't any real question. Like, I knew that as soon as I finished this match, I was going to go straight into another match, and I had gotten food earlier that day, so I could keep it with me. So in terms of, like, it was very precise and concrete when I knew I needed to play, but I know what you mean. Like, there are times where you think you're going to play at this... Like, on the first day, they were an hour behind. They started an hour late because of stream problems. But then there were so many forfeits that they ended up staying on the same schedule, which was really confusing, because you think, like, okay, they start an hour late, so then my match is an hour later. But they were like, they couldn't actually tell me what was going to happen. And then finally when they started, they told me that my match was in an hour instead of in 2 hours, which is what it was supposed to be based on the original schedule. Which was, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I guess that's the only real scheduling thing that happened.
Wolf, for you as a spectator, did it kind of go in line? Were you watching the schedule at all, or were you just watching the stream and seeing whatever happened?
I was just kind of watching the stream. I felt like the quality of production, for some reason, at this event just seemed like it was slightly stepped up. It felt like a really good MLG to me when I was watching it. And I felt like it was an event that everybody kind of needed after all this, the drama kind of blew away with the hurricane or something, because like everybody just watched the games, everyone was excited. The Flash hype was actually really interesting to me because obviously he did decently well, but just how many people really got behind that and tweeted about it and talked about it really, I think, helped make the event a success, because there was so much hype, but it was necessary hype. It was like, when you're excited, there's a difference between hype and excitement, and I feel like people actually hyped it unintentionally using their excitement, and that led to a lot of viewers, and people were posting viewer numbers up on Reddit saying, look at how many people are watching this is awesome. And for me, that was really exciting. I really loved watching the event when it was free in 1080, because I usually don't actually buy the pass for that, because the lower quality is fine for me.
Sure.
But watching it in 1080, the quality was pretty good. I had a few problems with audio sync. Sometimes the picture would be totally fine, but the audio would be a few seconds behind or ahead, but that's probably just hurricane related, I guess.
Was that on Blue Stream?
I don't remember which color it was. But I remember watching Scarlet versus Bomber was when it was the worst for me. And I don't remember which stream that ended up being on, but that was one of the games I was watching I had some problems with.
I think that was Blue. We were getting, or at least I was getting a lot of complaints on Blue's audio issues all weekend long. So regardless, though, I think the Flash effect on the tournament was definitely one of the biggest reasons that it got so crazy. Starting off the weekend with Flash versus Grubby, we were actually really excited in production, because once Idra came through open bracket, got seeded into Group B, if you would have actually taken the STC out, we would have had Idra versus Flash, which would have been an awesome match to probably have on stage. But regardless, we even got a better one with Naniwa versus Flash right after that, which I think that series is probably my favorite series from the entire weekend. Naniwa taking him out 2-1 the first time they meet, and then Flash coming back through, defeating Wongson, and then beating Naniwa in the extended series. It was good drama. It was good matches, except for the final match, which Tal'Darim Altar is just... it's kind of scary that that's still in the map pool. QXC or Todd, do you guys have any thoughts about that? Or Wolf as well?
Well, I'll let them go first.
It's kind of weird the way the maps work, because almost every tournament has phased out Tell the Remulter. And then for one tournament that's so big like MLG to still have it, it just, like, basically everyone you play is vetoing Tell the Remulter. You're like playing the guessing game. It's like playing chicken with your opponent. You do your first veto, like, I'm not going to veto Tell the Remulter. And then your opponent's like, well, should I veto it? I really want to veto it. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna, I think he's going to veto it. So he vetoes Metropolis and, like, some other map. And then you're like, well, I guess I'll veto Tell the Remulter. And, like, nobody ever plays it. But then if you've got two really stubborn people, then, like, you end up with maps, like, you're like, all right, first map Tell the Remulter, second map Metropolis, third map, like, Ohana. You get weird series, but obviously with the extended series going to Game 7,
Yeah.
that was going to happen.
I think it was probably always Game 7 in an extended series. It felt like it, at least. Todd, what are your thoughts on Tal'Darim still being in the map pool?
It makes me a very sad panda, obviously. I think a lot of Zergs and Terran, they remove it against Protoss, so it's not as important, and I will probably always remove it first in PvP, so I didn't get to play on it. But I guess we didn't see that many games. Personally, I didn't see that many, and the one game that we saw in finals was a ZVZ, so it wasn't that important. Oh, we did see Flash against Naniwa in a very interesting game.
Yeah. And it was interesting for a lot of reasons. Wolf, you brought up a point prior to the cast that I'll go ahead and let you have, but I thought it's the same.
There was a moment, and I don't know if anyone else noticed this, where Flash was scouting, or rather, Naniwa was scouting this probe and didn't see it, and the crowd went crazy because the casters were hyping it, and then he turned around right at that moment, and it felt like maybe he could hear the audience, and I can't say that with certainty, but he just suddenly turned around, and I was like, well, that's kind of odd.
Yeah. I remember noticing that too, and I think you're totally right. Like, when you're in the booth, you can see the audience, and like, you're like scouting around, and they're like, oh, you're like, oh, well, shit, like, I just missed something.
You can hear the feel the vibration of them too, probably, right? More so than even the audio.
You can't actually hear anything, I think, because there is the soundproof box, and like you wear something, I don't know how to call it, but something to cover your earphones, basically, and there is some kind of noise coming out of it to isolate the sound coming from the outside, so you can't really hear anything. But yeah, the stage does vibrate sometimes when stuff happens. I remember when I played Crank on the stage, in the start of the game, it kept moving around the stage when he was making pylon, or when I was making pylon, so that's not too relevant, but yeah, every time I could feel some building just had been made.
Huh. Well, obviously, it didn't really have that much of an effect on the game. By then, I think he had already built his Nexus by the time he saw the two Marines coming. So that was a rough game to watch for sure after such an incredible series between Flash and Naniwa. But, I mean, let's be honest. How many times has Flash probably played that map, right?
I guess the map is probably going to be gone forever after this event.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the reason. Sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
I don't think that's why he did the tour access. He did the tour access because after the first series they played, Naniwa said he was going to beat Flash 2-0 in macro games. So Flash thought that Naniwa would most likely do Nexus first on this map. It was very smart by him. I think that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good analysis of the situation. I think that might be the case as well. It might be that, and that it's on the map, and he's like, well, this is the perfect storm of all the reasons why I want to do a 2-Rax on this map, and scouting it or not, he just wasn't able to hold. It was a good build order choice. The map is so frustrating because, we've talked about it a little bit already, but it's like nobody wants to play on it. No matter what race you are, you just kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable on it. It just feels like a bad map for everybody. Right. So I hope that, I'm sure that after all the feedback, it's going to be completely removed next season.
Yeah, I don't see a tournament ever using the map again. Maybe like a Neo Tal'Darim altar or something if GSL decides to go back and revisit it, change some things up, but that was probably the last tournament that we'll definitely see it in. Before we leave the topic of Flash, I want to bring up the fact that, is it impressive to you guys that he's this good this quickly, or did he have kind of an easy path to where he got in the tournament? I want your thoughts on that. We'll start with QXC.
No, I don't think he had an easy path. He went through, well, maybe. Let's see. He beat Naniwa, Huang Sun, Who else?
It was, let's see here. Started off with Grubby 2-0, STC
Yeah.
2-0, lost to Naniwa 1-2, beat Wongson 2-1, and then came back and beat Naniwa 4-3. He then went to championship bracket to play Life, beat him 2-0, faced Life again right after, lost the extended series 2-4.
Wait, didn't Flash play Lenok at some point?
No, Lenok played Bomber.
Wait,
twice.
but then how did Flash go into the losers bracket to play Life again?
He didn't. He went into winners round 1 of the championship bracket. So, like, after losers round 7, it combines, on Liquipedia, it combines into winners and losers into one bracket. It's really confusing. I need to blow it up for people to see at home. Does that make sense to you?
I'm pulling it up myself.
Okay. Yeah, so it says, like, losers round 7, there's no winners right here. Then it goes winners round 1, Lenok Bomber, Life Flash. And then Bomber lost, moved down to
hell?
playing Rain.
That's so strange.
Life lost, went down to play Heart, and then they went on to the semifinals and the grand finals.
Okay, yeah. Maybe his run was not as impressive. Obviously the 2-0 against Life is super, super awesome.
Yeah.
But then he got 4-0'd the next round, so I don't know what to make of that.
Did you guys see that series as well? There was some weird things that happened. Like on Ohana, if I'm not mistaken, Life walked 7 infestors into a few siege tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
I think maybe
Like-
Life had some nerve issues. The first
Yeah, I
time
think
they played.
so.
There was that, and then I don't even know. The Cloud game was weird. Flash just had like a huge amount of tanks, but he was still on 2-2 and somehow held off the Ultras and then killed him. I didn't see the next set though. I was watching something else or eating. I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't see the second set either. Well, actually, I watched parts of it, but I was packing my apartment at the time, so I didn't catch everything. I was just kind of like seeing parts of it. I was moving around my room, but I don't know. I felt like he's definitely improving really rapidly, but I don't think it was like so insane that it's something that everybody should be talking about. Wow, it's insane that he's gotten this good this fast, but he definitely is improving at a rate faster than a lot of the other Kespa players, I feel.
Yeah, I agree with Wolf. Maybe if his path had included a couple more of the like top GSL players, then that would have been a little more telling. But really, the only really, really good player that he beat was Life. Obviously, the other players are good, but they're not on the same level, I think.
Absolutely. Todd, do you have any thoughts?
It actually really reminded me of Boxer when Boxer went to MLG to see Flash here,
I agree.
because
I had direct
he's the big
parallels.
dog. Everybody wants to see him own some people, and in the end, he always delivers. Like we know he's good, but we don't know how good he is. And yeah, he played really impressive. I saw a couple of his games and very good decision making, everything. In the end, he did lose to Life, but I mean, these days everybody does lose to Life. But other than that, yeah, he had a really tough road. He played Grubby, STC, Naniwa, Hongxin, Naniwa again. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed by Flash. And as far as improving goes, I'm impressed by Flash, but I'm also impressed at all the Kespa players. I had the chance to watch some of the replays from the MLG MVP tournament, and like from one team to another, it felt like they all have the same metagame. They all play the same. Like I saw Flash play mech against Zerg, and then I saw another Terran from another team play mech, and it was very, very similar. So I'm not sure how exactly they practice. They supposedly play a lot of games on ladder and then between each other in internal practice, but they develop the metagame very rapidly, in my opinion, and that's very interesting because they help develop strategies. Since Kespa players have started playing, the game has evolved a lot as well. If they hadn't, we would probably maybe be a little bit stuck to where we were before, in my opinion. So I really like that. And I'm looking forward to see what happens, especially for my Protoss' brother, because we're not doing particularly too well. So I really want to see if Parting is going to be able to keep on winning with his Immortal push. Maybe I'm a little bit deriving off subject here, but just the whole metagame right now with the Kespa players and the GSL players, and then you have the foreigners. they're all clashing together. I just feel it's so interesting.
I definitely want to get to kind of the metagame post-event. But kind of going back to the Kespa players, the other ones were Rain getting 5th, 6th, and Sulky getting 9th through 12th. Other than that, it was pretty much kind of your tip-top names here. Or no, also Sue, I forgot, getting 13th through 16th. What was Rain as big? Did he make... This is a terrible way to say this, but did he make as big of a splash as everyone thought at this event going into it? I mean, because the news hit that Rain was going to be playing through the open bracket, and everyone started freaking out. Was the freak out warranted, Wolf?
Well, I mean, I think he really played well. To me, it's so disappointing, the scheduling conflicts that get created, because if you're in CodeS and you're one of the top players, there's obviously some like political questions that go into this, because GSL actually tried, and I can tell you this they announced this as well, but I can tell you this from inside perspective as well, that they tried so hard to fix the scheduling problem, but they were told so late there was no way for them to do it. And some people, are going to be weird and stressed out by this, because they're going to think it's Kespa blocking the information out until the last second, so then they can take because if you think about two competing organizations and you look at one of the best players, a winner of an OSL and a top 4 finisher of GSL, and you look at that and you see, okay, well, we can just put him at an event that we're partnered with and also take him out of one of our competitors' events as one of the best players, just take him out of the group. It's like, okay, that sounds like the perfect thing that I would want to do if I were a competing organization runner. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of scheduling conflicts, and that's just like, that's almost a conspiracy theory what I just laid out. But I feel like he did a decent job, but it's just so frustrating to me that he had to pull out of GSL. I feel like if you pull out of CodeS with such low warning, it's like, shouldn't you just be like given some sort of penalty, like being the other Rain, ironically, actually was given a 2-season penalty last time he pulled out with no reasoning. He didn't show up to the group stage, and I actually wanted to ask him how he felt about that, but I didn't do it because I thought it might make him pissed. But I saw him actually the next day. He came and played the GSL, and it's kind of like, if you're going to skip out, shouldn't you be dropped out of the entire GSL, not just, let's say that he got last place, because that even affects the group too. Hyun got a free win in the group because of this, and that's not even really fair either.
But
Go ahead.
but did we get the official version of what happened here exactly? Because, like,
I don't
from
think
what
there
I
was an
gathered,
official one, was there?
okay, no, I don't think so. I haven't heard about any official statement, but from what I gather, I think he wanted to go to MLG and he didn't realize it was at the same time as his CodeS game. And then once he realized I'm guessing it was already too late. His flight was already booked and they had made all the preparations. So it was very hard for him to cancel. And usually the Kespa players, they don't really get to make those calls. From what I know, it's like all the coaches and all the bosses up there that will decide for him, basically. So maybe he had a say in it, but it was a very tough decision. And I think Gon TV, they probably took that into consideration when Rain the Terran Rain chose to pull out of GSL. It was completely his own decision. There was like no misunderstandings here, but this time I'm pretty sure that there had to be some kind of misunderstandings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in this case, it's like more about Kespa's decision than Rain's decision, and it's hard to punish a player for that because it's not. I think in this case, like you said, Rain didn't really have a say in this, and to kick him out of the GSL, this doesn't feel right. It's like, well, he didn't really make this choice. His team made it for him, but at the same time, we've got to punish him some way, so just giving him the loss, I guess, is what GOM decided was a middle ground. I didn't talk to Mr. Che or any of the GOM referees about the actual decision process of what to do, but it seems like that's what they decided.
It felt kind of weird because in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, but GSL has moved the schedule of players so to accommodate them for an MLG event or for other foreigner events, have they not?
Yeah, they have, but in this case, they were told like 2 days before.
But
so.
They were told by Rain that he wanted to attend, or they were told that MLG was happening? They were told by Rain, right?
They were told by Rain.
Okay.
And
I
think it may have just been nobody really communicated with each other well. The blame may not rest on one person's shoulders, but that's what happened. They tried to move it still, even, and I want to get into exactly why they couldn't move it. If you look at all the groups and who are in all those groups and who else was going to be in MLG and scatter between the groups, you can figure out why. And not only those, but the other events going on like LoneStar and stuff like that, you can figure out why they couldn't move it. But it was just kind of a bad luck kind of situation.
Okay. Todd found the official statement coming from GOM's side of things. I don't have there's a lot to skim through, though.
Yeah, they basically say that before they've put a lot of effort into trying to adjust to the schedule of players, but this time somehow something went wrong. They explained the way they send out the schedules, the teams,
Sure.
in advance, but this time they completely skipped mentioning MLG and Rain in the one they sent to Home TV, so that's why this happened in the end. So yeah, I think that's why in the end game they didn't ban him for like 1 season or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that he, according to SK Telecom, it included only OSL Finals, Blizzard World Championship, and G-Star. So then they asked him October 29th, which I believe is 2 days before the event, if he could participate. And Golem tried to figure it out, but couldn't.
Well, regardless, it happened. It's a shame to not see Rain. His group would have put him against Life, right? I think I remember watching that, and that's why a lot of people were upset that it was a...
No, he was against Hyun.
Oh, it was Hyun.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Yoda and Gumi, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and people were excited about that match because Hyun's been doing so well at the IPL Fight Night, like 13 in a row or something crazy.
Yeah, something.
So, and I think he's playing Parting to go off on a tangent next week, which should be an interesting match, as Todd was mentioning earlier with Parting's Immortal play. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes next week. But that's kind of all I wanted to say about Flash and Rain. Life winning. It was. I think the final four all had awesome storylines going for him. Life, of course, being the fact that he was the GSL champion as well. Lenok would have been the only 3-time MLG winner ever. I think Bomber would have joined Huck and Lenok as having 2 championships, and Flash would have been the Kespa player ever, the first one to ever win in MLG. So we got really lucky with the 4 storylines there. Life winning, I guess, pretty awesome. I don't think you guys ever think a GSL winner will ever win an MLG the next 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. Is that possible?
Well, it kind of happened in the opposite order with Lenok, where he won an MLG, then flew home and almost won the GSL.
He almost won it, though, so it didn't happen.
Yeah.
He was close, though.
If you can win an MLG or if you can win a GSL, then odds are good that you can also do well in the other one. So it's not that surprising for someone to be able to do both. Especially, we're starting to get into the phase where the top players are actually really consistent in general. And for a long time, it's been like someone would win something, then they wouldn't perform at the next event, and then they would perform well, and then they wouldn't perform well. But like Lenok is putting out awesome games every MLG he goes to. He always plays good in the GSL. Like now with Life, it seems like a similar situation.
I feel like it's really cool because the GSL is such a different type of tournament than MLG. Because at MLG, you have to play against so many tournaments. I mean, so many players that you can't prepare for. It's kind of unknown who you're going to face. The GSL is all about preparation, and to be able to win 2 titles back to back like that with totally different types of tournament structure, that's really cool. It means this guy is definitely here to stay. I feel like he can do both, and it's rare to find a player who can so consistently do both. And not only in the open bracket, or rather the bracket system of MLG, but also in Team League, he's also done consistently well. So that's just really impressive.
I'm trying to find the picture of Life shaking hands with Flash. I think it might have been for the finals, or no, it was for their it was for the semifinal match, where you could just see the amount of respect that Life had for Flash in the handshake, of course. And then right after he lost, this was when he lost initially 2-0, he immediately got out of his booth and ran over to Flash's, so Flash did not have to get out of his to go shake his hand after he had lost. So it just shows that not only is he like a great fucking player, but he's really appreciative of kind of everything else in the scene. I thought that was just an awesome moment. I wish I could find the picture of it, though. I'll look here in a couple seconds. Naniwa getting top 12. He was the highest placing foreigner. Seems to just always be kind of up there with the tip-top players. Todd is a Protoss brother. Does that surprise you at all to see Naniwa doing well?
No. He had a few lackluster performances in the previous tournaments, but I know how hard he's working. I actually talk a lot with Naniwa, so I wasn't surprised. I didn't see that many of his games, but I did see a few impressive ones, like the one against Flash on Ohana, which was really back and forth. And yeah, I'm really proud of my boy Naniwa for going this far. I still think he could have made it further, because for example, Huangxin and Hart went really well in the tournament, and I probably rate Naniwa higher than them, so then it really becomes dependable on who you meet in the tournament. It kind of decides how far you go, so good performance, but I still feel like he could have done better, so we're going to see how he does at the LoneStar Clash. I'm really eager to see.
It was also interesting to see Naniwa kind of after he was eliminated from the tournament. It seemed like he was, whether he's putting this on for people to see or whether he's actually changed, I guess that's another conversation. But it seems like he's trying to. He was very open to his tournament, thanked all his fans via Twitter, did not seem upset or jaded in any way, shape, or form, and that was really awesome to see. QXC or Wolf, do you guys have any thoughts on Naniwa?
I just I was happy to see how he did, and I think that Naniwa is always going to be around, and it's good to see that isn't really changing because he's training so hard in Korea, and I feel like talking about what we talked about with life, there's two kinds of tournaments. One is preparation, and one is more so spontaneous. And I feel like Naniwa does much better in more preparation-based environment. But just seeing how well he did this is good to see. It's not like it was an amazing finish for him or anything like that, but it was definitely one where he can go home and say, yeah, I was pretty good. I'm going to go to Lone Star now. Maybe I can do better there.
There was kind of an interesting stat about Dallas is only Swedish players have ever won an MLG Dallas event. We had Jinro winning the first, I think that was the first ever tournament that MLG had put on way back when, and then Naniwa, of course, winning.
That was Huck.
No, I think you're wrong.
What was the statistic? Sorry.
MLG Dallas events have only ever been won by a Swedish player.
MLG Dallas events. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I misheard you.
Yeah, General winning. That was was that 2010?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
man.
2010. Was it what tournament was that? Was that Raleigh?
No, that was Dallas, man. What are you talking
Dallas,
about?
was it? Okay, yeah, I guess so.
You guys are missing the whole point. It's Dallas, It's a stupid stat. Let's move on. It's confusing everyone on the show. Suppy was the highest placing American. What place did he end up getting? Was it top 32? Or was he eliminated?
Yeah, I think it was like 16 to 32, somewhere in there.
He was eliminated by Sue 2-0. He had a pretty good run, though. Taking out Rhett, then Revival, then Juke 2-1. Finally losing to Sue in losers round 4.
Yeah, Sue took top 16, so maybe top 24 or something like that.
Yeah, I think top 24. Is that a good representation of North America? Were you guys at all surprised? I thought it was kind of interesting that the only EG or the EG player that made it the furthest was the least hyped when it came to the announcement in Suppy. Is there anything to be said to that for you guys?
I think Suppy's really good at LAN events. I've played him in a couple of online cups and I practiced with him, and most of the time he's kind of what I expect. Like, he's a high-ranking North American Zerg, but I guess he's got something figured out when it comes to actually going to an event that sets him apart from pretty much a lot of players who don't have that same mindset or the same type of preparation, whatever it is that makes him different. So, but he doesn't really have the same kind of hypeable personality like Hydra and Huck, and maybe that's because he hasn't had the same level of results. But when Hydra does well, people love to love him and they love to hate him at the same time because he's got a very determined, fierce, bold personality. When Suppy does well, he's giggling and giving people hugs and stuff, and so you're not it's not the same kind of thing. So I guess that's my take.
I saw him on Sunday. We were going to do a Get Real with him which I think ended up being Axel toss right before the finals, simply because he had to go do a signing or something like that. But he was usually by Sunday the players are so fucking tired and they're so done with the event that I'm used to just seeing like very somber faces, not much emotion, etc. He comes over and just smiling, laughing, having a great time. So maybe he's just happy at these events. Maybe he isn't jaded yet. He hasn't been to so many like everyone else, where they know the event's over. They got to get to the bar as soon as possible. I don't know, but congratulations regardless. Axelov said it was 17th through 20th, sharing it with MoonGlade and Baby Knight. That's another story I didn't actually have in here. Is MoonGlade played very, very well this tournament. Did you guys happen to catch his games kind of through the open bracket or see him at all this weekend?
I talked to him a bit. I played him a couple of weeks ago for the IPL Global Challenge invite, whatever thing it was, and he impressed me. He played quite well there, much better than I thought he would. So seeing this is he's another one of those players that has always kind of performed pretty well at live events, and we've seen him a bunch of times at different IEMs, placing pretty highly. So this is not entirely unexpected.
Todd, did you happen to run into MoonGlade at all this weekend?
I talked to him briefly, but I saw none of his games, sadly. It's very hard to follow the matches when you're playing. And on the second day, as I explained earlier, I just basically left the venue and tried to relax some. But yeah, I was very impressed. He beat a lot of good players. He even beat Revival, who's supposed to be really good in ZVZ. He beat Major 2-1. Major has very scary TVZ, so very impressive. I guess it's very hard to know where MoonGlade is at skill-wise and shape-wise because he doesn't practice on NA. Right. He plays on SEA or Korea, I'm guessing. So we have no idea when it comes to those tournaments. He could just be in super good shape or he could be completely out of shape. And yeah, this time he really played well.
He's kind of like the Shadow Zerg, I feel like. He's always in the background. No one really knows how he's doing or who he's practicing with or how his training is going. I feel like, I mean, unless you really keep up with the Australian scene, it's really hard to follow that. And so it's kind of cool to see that he's still practicing and still doing well. I like these players who have been around for a really long time but aren't always like in the forefront. Even Suppy has been like that. I mean, he's been around for a really long time, and now he's on EG and he's doing really well. And it's good to see that like the lesser known players are still getting pretty good spots and that they can stay motivated to keep training. That's how I feel about MoonGlade and Suppy's finishes.
Last note on MoonGlade, I had the privilege of running into him as him and his fellow Australians were getting in the van on Monday afternoon to leave to Australia. Nicest group of guys I think I had met all weekend. They just seemed happy to be there, happy to kind of be in an MLG, which was really awesome to see. I hope that we see MoonGlade and more Australians at other events because it's so hard and so expensive to get off of that blasted island that they live on. So let's move on here. Kind of wrapping up MLG. 2012 is over. I talked about this in a blog I did the other day, but I felt like it just didn't seem like the final MLG of the year. It didn't seem like it was the culmination of anything, and a lot of this has to do with the format of their 4 distinct seasons, but there was no storyline to that, It was just it's the fall championships. That was the storyline. What are you spamming, QXC? I'm not
spamming. Major just sent me a message.
I think Major wants to come on the show.
Well,
I think Major has a bone to pick with MoonGlade.
With MoonGlade,
he's not so happy, I guess.
Major, if you want to come on, message me. I guess you can mess up the overlords because it'll be kind of funny. It'll add some life to this. Let me know if he wants to come on and talk about his game versus MoonGlade. But yeah, going back to that, it just final event of the year didn't seem like the final event of the year. But 2012 being over, we're going into 2013. What do you guys want to see different for MLG? Wolf, we'll start with you as I try to figure out this Princess debacle.
For me, I would like to see more of the same, but maybe maybe some different locations in the U.S. so more people could, I don't know, try to actually go to the events that weren't able to go before. But otherwise, I know what you're saying when you say that it didn't feel like the end of the year, but I feel like that's because right now we have so many tournaments going on all at once, and everyone's really excited for the Blizzard World Championships, for example.
Right.
So maybe that's why. But for me, just some more of the same with some improvements. You know, they did some experiments with production in the past. In fact, I did this with you a long time ago at one of the spring arenas of doing like picture-in-picture and instant
Right.
replay and some of the capturing of the first-person views of the players. That kind of production would be really nice to see, not only in MLG, but all over the place. It's really hard to do. It's really expensive to get the kind of capturing that you need to actually get those computers. But I think that kind of technology, we have it, it's there. And I think it's time for tournaments to start stepping it up and actually using that, including MLG, because I was there, I've seen them do it before.
And just to state, we had all of that in Dallas this past week, and there's a lot of things that have to come into play for it to actually go correctly. I'll just say that. I'm saying we because I worked the event QXC, not as MLG official statement, but as the producer of the event. Yes, keep typing in chat instead of on the show.
That's just one thing I'd like to see, because I mean, how awesome is it when when you could see the casters or the casters are talking about, for example, Scarlet's or Life's creep spread, and then suddenly this logo just pops up saying it's going to be their actual first-person view, and you see him like spamming the creep out really fast, and you put that on screen for like 5, maybe 10 seconds max, and you jump back to the regular screen. And I think that's actually awesome to see when it's like, okay, he's got 12 active creep tumors, and the screen jumps and it actually shows you dropping those tumors, or if you have an instant replay of a fight, whether it's in slow motion or not, or who cares, just, okay, well, it looks like he really messed up his micro there. He didn't get his EMPs off on the Templar. Let's look at that again while we have this moment where no one's fighting each other. Or having just the first-person view during a drop situation where a Pross is being dropped in 2 locations, and it's like, how does he deal with that? Let's look at his screen and see how he micros. Does he see the drop coming? Is he going to get his stalkers over there in time? I think just having that available to casters and for the production would make things so much better as a spectator, but at the same time, it's obviously really hard to do, so you have to have someone who's in the production room who knows a lot about the game.
That's
because
the hardest thing.
Adebisi can't like tell people to do this while he's also observing really well. You've got to have somebody who's in the production room who really knows what's going on, who's listening, who can actually be really good at where he captures it. You have to have a second computer set up. It's really complicated.
I think that, and I think it was TLO that said this on, maybe it was the Good Show a while back, 4 or 5 months ago. 2013, I think, a lot of the tournaments in production will start to separate themselves from one another when people that are pushing the buttons and doing everything else around the stream know the game through and through, or know the game well enough to be able to say, let's cut to this first-person view because Flash is about to have an incredible split against Banelings, and if he doesn't, it's going to be an awesome fail, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Or to say, hey, let's record this while it's happening, and we'll do an instant replay right afterwards. It's little things like that kind of the average, not average director, the director that doesn't know the game will always struggle with, whereas I guess the GSL director probably knows what's going on, which is why you see a lot of things like that. Especially the best way to say that is go watch an OGN broadcast. They know exactly when to do the first-person views. They know when to cut in every kind of production element that I just mentioned. So, Todd, 2013, what needs to change besides the schedule? Because I know you're going to say that.
We saw Blizzard really starting to implement some stuff in Heart of the Storm that we had been asking for. So I hope that we keep asking for stuff and stuff gets done as far as the game goes. For the tournaments, I really hope more tournaments start working together and there is more of a higher standard for players. That's, I don't know how to explain, but that will be used for every tournament. As far as everything goes, schedule, playing conditions, because you always, as a player, you go to a lot of tournaments, and then in one of those tournaments, the problem is going to be the computers or the internet. In the other one, it's going to be the chairs or tables that are horrible. So I really hope there could be maybe some kind of federation or something that works in this direction, where basically the players will benefit a lot out of it. Because right now when I go to a tournament like MLG, I really feel like it's really centered around the audience, and it's very, well, I guess it's pretty good for the spectators. I did mention that it might be a little bit hard to follow the bracket, but other than that, you get to see a lot of games. If you are at home, you have a lot of streams to follow a lot of those games. But for a player, I really feel we're being a little bit neglected in the sense that the schedule can be really tough, and sometimes you never know who you're going to play until the last minute, or you don't know when you're going to know who you're going to play, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And to me, some of these things, like just to touch on this a little bit, is not always because the event doesn't like the players or cares about the players. I feel like it's a format problem. You know, it's just like how can you know when your next opponent's going to be? How can the event even know, because they have so many players and they have a time limit? You know, the production's not going to go on until 3 o'clock in the morning, so they have to slam this around. And maybe the format, if it's altered, can solve a lot of these problems schedule-wise, because you've got a ton of players. You've got so many rounds with 2 brackets to go through. The open bracket is double elimination as well. It's just insane. So maybe the format, if it's adjusted, if they limit the amount of players who are allowed to compete somehow it wouldn't really be an open bracket anymore, but maybe they don't need an open bracket. So maybe they could mess around with that a little bit.
There are other ways to handle a huge number of players besides an open bracket, and for me that would be the biggest and most important change for MLG. There's just too many matches if you lose early on, and because there's always really good people going through the open bracket, you can just MLG is one of those tournaments where you can do really good or you can do really bad, but a lot of it is based on who you play. I know some people, they play JYP and winners and then play MC and losers, and then their tournament's over. That's it. And some people get Minigun, who's not there in round 5, so they go straight to round 6, and up to round 5 they only played Diamond and low Masters players, and it's the biggest thing that I'd like to see with MLG and with tournaments in general is a more fair way of doing it, so that the best players really place the highest. And maybe DreamHack, I think the mass group stage thing that DreamHack does a pretty good job of, you rarely have a group where it's 3 people who deserve to go on, and obviously one of them doesn't. You usually have groups where it's there's 2 good people and there's 2 possible upsets. And the upsets, they get their chance, they get to play some games, they get to see how they can do, but generally you get the better players moving on and going to the next stage of the tournament. And to me that makes a lot more sense than this kind of thing well, Rain's not seeded, so I could get him in round 3 winners, and all of a sudden, because of maybe I can't beat Rain, so now I have 10 hours of playing the next day in a row without breaks if I want to actually do anywhere that people will even notice in the tournament.
Good point.
Imagine, I mentioned DreamHack many times, but imagine DreamHack format and the player list that we had at MLG. How awesome this tournament would have been. Yeah. What do you think about this?
The groups and the matches that would come out of that, especially because you get storylines in that kind of format where people have the potential to play each other more than once, and not with weird extended series. You can play someone in the first group stage, and then I think the way it works is you won't be in the same group in the second group stage, but once it gets to that bracket, you have this we met at the very beginning and now we're going to meet way later, and that kind of thing pretty much never happens at MLG. You have the group play, but then it's Flash beats Life, and then his next opponent in the next round is Life. It's not the same kind of drawn out, kind of dramatic thing that you might have with the mass group stage thing.
I'm somewhat ignorant to DreamHack's format. Is it a 4-day tournament for that, or is it 3-day? How long does it take them to get through group stage? Do you guys know?
It depends on which DreamHack it is, but if it's the one with the most groups,
sure.
I think
go with that one.
They do 2 days.
2 days, really?
Yeah, and basically they play 2 groups at once, or I think it's 2 groups, yeah, and they can show almost every game basically because there are 4 streams, and you always have 2 games playing per group at the time because it's groups of 4 or 5 max, and basically every game is streamed, so you might need to have more than 1 monitor to follow the tournament.
It's funny.
But, yeah, other than that, you see almost everything, and yeah.
It's funny because that would fix the players' issue, but every caster that goes to DreamHack says it's the hardest tournament to cast because it's so many matches. So I don't know what the balance is. I don't know what the balance is. If there even needs to be a balance, maybe casters just need to shut up and
Maybe more casters. I don't know.
yeah, maybe so.
Maybe we should clone Kaldor.
There you go.
Possibly so.
Need to do that. We'll just clone Kaldor. Wolf, did we get your 2013 wishes yet?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I really want to see the production, and that's the main point. I don't want to rehash it out all the way again, but I feel like we're at the point. I mean, we had the boom with streaming services. There needs to be less laggy streams, and even coming from GLOM, I know people have their issues, and like that sort of thing. I think that now everything is kind of settled down in StarCraft 2, especially a little bit. The streaming, everybody's figured it out. The production has gotten a lot better. But now we need to make sure we don't have any moments where the top 3 posts on Reddit are about the stream lags for me, or I have audio problems, or stuff like that. And then even getting into the finer things as well.
Sure. Let's see what good old Princess has to say real quick before we wrap this up. Where is Princess? I don't. What is he going to talk about? I feel like I'm falling into a velo trap right now.
Did he not tell you?
Not really.
Did you read the thing that I put in Skype?
No.
I think he just wanted to complain.
Okay. Well, that's great. He's not even going to pick up his phone. Princess.
Hi. It's an honor to be in the same show as one of my favorite casters, Wolf Schneider, who shares the family name as my favorite hot dog brand. Hello, guys.
I don't.
Hello.
Hello,
How are you,
Major?
Very good. Thank you.
Major,
How about
what did you want to come on the show and talk about? I just brought you on because fuck it.
I just want to be with you guys, the cool guys.
You wanted to say something about the MLG playing conditions, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And about how you played MoonGlade.
So I was playing MoonGlade, right? And I won game 1. Then they had like an internet problem or something.
Sure.
And they had to stop for 1 hour. So I was like really relaxed by then. And then I just got on by newbie mistakes in game 2 and 3. Because I got so relaxed. Because we had to stop for like 1 hour. So it was pretty dumb. And when I had to play live, I was scheduled to play at 9 p.m. the standard time.
Okay.
And I ended up playing like at 12. So they don't really follow on a schedule. And I was really, really tired by then. Just not very good. They should be fixing this stuff, I think.
Okay. Is that all you want to come on the show and say, Princess?
No, I want to be you guys. You cool guys.
Well,
I can be here.
Unfortunately, no, the overlay doesn't work, man. I guess you could just stay on. Look, QXC, would you mind sharing a webcam spot with the one and only Princess? Okay.
I do like the gato with the alcohol.
Ah.
Can we share that? Can we put that in my
Yeah,
box?
okay. Let me just redo this overlay real quick.
I really like the cat as well, man. That's actually the coolest cat. Is that your cat?
No, you know Nyoken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Nyoken's cat.
Oh shit.
That's not
Fucking
okay.
So
Nyoken.
it's like actually his cat's like not a thing you found on the internet. It's like actually his cat. That's awesome.
I don't know. I guess he found it on the internet. He just sent me the picture.
Ah,
Oh, okay.
okay.
That makes
I was
more
like, shit, man, that's so cool.
All right, there we go. Let me get Princess in here. So the final thing on MLG is the metagame shift post-event. Todd, I think you were kind of starting to talk about this before I cut you off. Do you want to expand on that at all?
About what? Sorry.
Just like the metagame shift after an event. What can we expect to see more of? What can we expect to see less of in upcoming matches?
I'm not sure about the other races, but I guess we did see a lot of mech being played for Terran, and somehow Life dismantled all of them. But yeah, Major, actually, you did play some good games against Life.
Yeah.
What do you think about the metagame? TVZ.
To be honest, I should have won the game 1 against Live, but I didn't
That's
split
not
my
what I'm
findings.
asking, man.
I know. Let me go to my point.
Okay.
The point is, Infested Terrans, like, Infestor, he has two critical spells, Infested Terran and Fungal. And Fungal kind of stops Vile. You know, you can go like really fast Broodlers and use Camp and then get that mass dead ball. And against against Mech, as we saw Linux versus Bomber, I think, he literally used kill a Max army with only Infested Terrans. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
That's-
Infested Terrans seem problematic right now.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you talk about this, and actually I play a lot of PvZ these days where my opponents, they go for like 20 or 30 infestors very easily, and they just spam Infested Terrans in fights. They just do those crazy pushes where we have about the same supply or they have a little bit more. And supposedly I should be able to fight and hold, but just because they spam so many Infested Terrans, I end up losing most of army. So that's the current PvZ macro game, I guess. If you don't all in, you most likely are gonna have to face this if your opponent goes for the standard Ling or Roach into Infestor. And it's become really annoying. There is a few Zergs actually that got this build where they stay on 2 bases for some time and they go really quickly for Infestors just with Lings. And when I say some Zergs, I mostly mean Scarlet and some other.
Life
Yes.
kind of does that, doesn't he?
And if you go Templar Archive, which is probably supposed to be the best against this, Scarlet scouts with an Overseer, and then she throws down Roach Warren, and she makes Roaches, so it becomes very hard to deal with it if you have Storm. And if you don't, well, you go for Colossus, and then it's going to be really hard to hold. So this is the current meta game of PvZ, and yeah, it's becoming really, really hard, I feel, for Protosses, and it's starting to feel like this in tournaments as well. In MLG, there wasn't a really strong Protoss showing, in my opinion. And now in the MLG, GSL, excuse me, top 16, there is 8 Zergs, 6 Terrans, and 2 Protosses. So I'm really
I want to ask
Yeah?
you this, Todd. Do you think that until some changes are made, everything is going to go towards this 2-base Immortal push? Because it starts to feel more and more. I mean, I cast so many Protoss versus Zergs in the GSL, and it's like, if they don't go for some sort of weird Stargate opener, they just do the Immortal push. And it's like, you already know it's going to happen. And when a Zerg gets caught off guard by it, it feels kind of silly because it's like, well, didn't the Zerg also know this is probably what's going to happen to them? I mean, it seems like the matchup is almost getting a little bit stale. Do you think that until there's some sort of balance change that the matchup's going to kind of focal in on that 2-base Immortal push?
Yeah, I feel like right now it's kind of stuck at this point where you do the Immortal push at least from time to time, or for some Protosses all the time, just because macro games didn't go well in practice or on ladder. And Protosses did get a lot better at macro games than before. Like now we know when to add High Templars, when to add Storm, we get the Mothership very quickly, we harass everywhere with War Prism, we get rid of our sentries when they become useless, we get rid of our Immortals when they get useless. But so have the Zergs. They have gotten a lot better. They know how to spine everywhere. They know how many Infestors exactly they need to make. They know how to make 2 Spire and surround them with Spine Crawlers. So in the end, both races have evolved, but it's still really hard for Protoss to win in a real macro game against Zerg, in my opinion. So we're a little bit stuck right now. I really don't see what could be done. What could be added metagame-wise. Yeah, so I'm hoping that Heart of the Swarm will change something, because it looks like Blizzard doesn't plan on on changing anything in Wings of Liberty right now.
Yeah. Do you think they're even going to patch anything in Wings of Liberty? I mean, I haven't even seen them talking about it, really.
Blizzard posted, Dustin Browder posted, I think it was either earlier today for you guys or like last night, about how they are looking at it and that they're just still not quite sure that they want to change it yet in Wings of Liberty. So that's kind of like, I mean, obviously Dustin Browder is not the balance guy, but obviously he posts as a prominent Blizzard employee and talks with, Davey and the others quite often.
Sure.
So I guess that, I mean, based on that, it looks like they are just considering waiting it out. And in the past, waiting it out has worked for some things, but this problem has been going on for a while, I feel, and I usually don't like to call things in the game a balance problem because I feel like usually they will fix themselves eventually, but this one seems so glaring to me because it's like now in all matchups, people are making oftentimes 15 to 20 infestors. ZVZ, that doesn't always happen like that, but in the other matchups, it's like, well, that's kind of insane that people are making that many infestors. That there's something going on here. You should make units from nothing. Even from a viewer's perspective, when you look at the supply, a Zerg player's down like 20 supply, and suddenly he just crushes an army, and you're like, well, how did that work? It's like, well, because he made supply out of nothing, basically.
Did you happen to... Well, go ahead.
You were saying, like, in the past, pretty much waiting fixes the problem. I feel like Blizzard either takes one of two approaches. They either patch things immediately, or they never patch them at all. And I'm thinking, like, pre-igniter, medevac speed, vortex, strike cannon, like, all this stuff. There was, like, one iconic game, or, like, a weekend. And then they were like, yeah, let's just nerf that. Let's just fix it. And then there's other stuff that you're like, you've been seeing, like, weird, like, mass broodlord invincible armies. We've been seeing that for so long, and they're just like, no, we're just gonna leave this alone. This is gonna be okay. We're gonna see a change. And I guess for Protoss, it seems like it's still an issue. For Terran, with kind of figuring out how Ravens work and stuff like that, it's gotten a bit better. But
I have something to say. I think Protoss and Terran have like different problems against Zerg. Like early game, Protoss is really strong against Zerg, right? With the Immortal All-In. That's like they're both the best build, and Terran is really weak early game because you literally can't do anything early game against Zerg. But late game, PBC, it seems really bad for Protoss. And TBC, even though it's not very good, it's better than Protoss in my opinion. I don't know. I think maybe they need to do something early game and late game for those two matches to fix them. I think.
I pretty much agree with Major on that. Like, Terran, at least Terran late game, we have the tools to deal with, like, weird max out brood or, like, hive. Like, if you said, build any 200 army, I guarantee I could build something that beats what anything the Zerg is making.
Oh, of course, easy.
Yeah, but it's, like, the whole plan, the whole TVZ meta going into that late game is like, how the hell do you even get that composition? But then I feel like you ask some Protosses, I mean, maybe you're probably better at it than I am, Major, but that's kind of like...
Yeah.
I feel like if you ask some Protosses, they're like, build any army you want. And they'd be like, why? I'm just going to lose anyway.
Yeah. It sucks for
I
Protoss.
feel like it's kind of like the mothership is the key. And I was actually at the OSL finals backstage with some of the production people, and this girl was there watching it, and she asked me to explain to her because she doesn't know StarCraft that well. And she was like, why isn't... It was, I think, the first Antigua game, and she's like, why isn't anything really happening? They're just kind of sitting there. And I was like, well, it's because if he gets the Vortex, then the game is going to end. Or if he doesn't get the Vortex, the game is going to end. So both people are really scared about that fact, and they're trying to position themselves so slowly.
You know, it's so funny you say that. In this David Kim interview last night, he was asked, recently Zerg has been dominating in Rings of Liberty. Protoss players especially are complaining about it. Are you aware of this? And he says, yes, we are receiving tons of feedback regarding this. However, Zergs are not winning all the major high-end tournaments. If we look at the race distribution, I don't think it's that bad. The interesting part of it is, for me at least, he says, however, I believe there is a flaw in the game design. For example, it is very hard to face late-game Zerg composition without Mothership's Vortex. Therefore, in Heart of the Swarm, we are trying to provide solutions by adding units like Tempest. We are aware of Zerg's dominance, but we are waiting for more results to show up. So I guess he kind of agrees with you.
But even then, like, even with Mothership, Zerg don't really care if they got like 30 infestors, 20 broodlords, and that's fine. You can get Vortex, they don't even care. They're still gonna win. Just seems
Well,
really
it
broken.
depends how many broodlords get in there. If you 10 broodlords get into Vortex, and then you put Archons in this
Let's be
Vortex,
realistic.
trust me, they will care.
That never happens.
Yeah,
Ever.
it's very hard for this to happen. But
You have to split.
I'm actually curious because we don't have a Zerg on the show, and we're all complaining about infestors. But I know I talk a lot to a couple of good Protosses, and all of them told me that they hate playing against infestors, basically. But Wolf or QXC, do either of you talk to Zerg players, like on your team, or Wolf in Korea? Do you talk to a lot of Zerg players? Like, what is their take on all this? Do they think the infestors are too good as well, or?
Gozer, what do you think about infestors?
In my experience, when I talk to Koreans about it, most Zergs either just say they think it's a little bit too strong, or they just laugh and joke and say, of course it's overpowered, and just kind of joke like that. But it's all, you know how it is. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been in an event with a Korean, and whether you speak English to them or if I try to use my Korean, which is difficult to talk about StarCraft stuff, usually they don't really give much more than a political answer where they're like, oh, maybe it's too strong, I don't really know. They're much less vocal about balance than, for example, North American and European players, I feel.
That's very true, man. I talked with all of them. They all hate playing against Zerg. And even the Zerg players say it's really imba. Like Symbol and Hyun say it's like, it's impossible to lose with that army against Protoss, for example. Like, it's literally impossible. Unless you clump every Brood Lord and get Vortex.
And they're gonna hate you for saying.
Hold on, guys.
Don't
Guys, was Destiny onto something when he just used... Was he so far ahead of the metagame that when he just used Infestors, he was actually the best player at the time? Is that what we're saying right now?
Oh, God.
I get Princess, do you not agree?
No.
Okay.
So I asked,
What did Ghost User say?
he basically said that late game ZVP is stupid, and it's really easy for Zerg, and Infestors and Infested Terrans are too strong in that situation. But he says that you can't nerf Infestors because then Raven Ghost BC would be unstoppable.
Yeah, sure. Try to get into that, though. You never
Yeah, no kidding. How the hell am I made a max out on Raven Ghost BC?
Never happens.
So
you know,
what...
there are some units in StarCraft 2 like that you just make and they're always useful. You know, like they're your core units. Like the Marine is one of them, Stalkers are one of them, and you have in Heart of the Swarm you even had Warhound was one of them. And sometimes these units like people consider to be really strong because they're just always used. But the thing is, the Infestor has multiple utilities. It can create basically a core unit in the Infested Terrans. You can use them without any support if you have enough of them. You can fungal, you can stop things from moving. So it's like, it's hard to balance a unit that has that many different abilities. It's like, where is the problem with the Infestor? Is it because you can create so many units from just energy? Is it because you can trap units? Or is it because when you put both of them together, that's the problem that you get? It's really a difficult unit to balance. And there are some units that are always used in certain matchups that Blizzard hasn't touched. For example, the Colossus. In fact, I don't think the Colossus has been patched since the beta. I don't think it was touched even a single time that so many people complain about. But this one is just not like a unit. It's a casting unit. And so it's really, really hard to actually change. You know, if you change it, how do you even change it? How do you approach that? Do you make different abilities cost more energy? Do you make them do less damage? Do you remove the upgrade for energy? I mean, how do you change it exactly?
I have some ideas. I've been thinking about this a lot when I shower. I think about StarCraft.
Okay.
And I think maybe we can make like the Infestor 3 supply. The Infested Terran X, maybe they shouldn't have armor, because right now they have 2 armor, I believe. So they should have like 0 armor when they spawn, the Infestor, the X. Make Interceptors immune to fungal, because carriers are completely useless against that army because they just get... The Interceptors just get fungal, and you waste like 1k minerals doing nothing. And maybe the Mothership shouldn't be nerfed. That will nerf the Infestors, but not so big of nerf. That will make carriers viable against Zerg. It will make like Infested Terrans not be so strong, and they couldn't make that many Infestors because it's free supply. I don't know.
What do you guys think about that?
Infested Terrans should benefit from attack and armor upgrades, since auto turrets don't.
Yeah, that's
right. That's actually something I thought about. But the idea of the 3 supply is actually really interesting. That actually, I never thought about that change, because that would make it harder for Zergs to get those Infestors out in those critical defense moments where like they're trying to hold that Pros push and they need to get X amount of Infestors out to be able to hold. But for being able to make them your entire army and having the Infestor gadget moment with Leonot would not really be possible. So I don't know, that's actually a really interesting idea that I hadn't thought of. And I think it would need testing, but maybe making it 3 supply could work.
Yeah.
I think maybe the spells, it's very hard to increase the supply cost of a spellcaster. Like, how do you justify it? I mean, the unit is too strong. You should just nerf its spells. Because Protoss, we have the High Templar Terran as Ghost, and both of them are 2 supplies, so it just feels wrong to increase the supply just because the unit is too strong. I think just the spells needs to be nerfed. I don't have much idea about Fungal, but about Infested Terran, I had this idea, which I think is pretty good, where basically Infested Terran will cost 30 instead of 25, and then there will be a lot less Infested Terran, especially from the start. Instead of having 3 eggs, they would have just 2 as the infestor comes out. And when full energy, they would have a lot less as well. Because right now, if Zerg makes like 15, 20 infestors as soon as possible against Protoss, let them charge up in energy and then does a big timing. I mean, I'm not sure how to hold this, but it seems extremely difficult.
They should make infested Terrans have building collision like auto turrets, so that you can't place them in battles at all.
No, they will cry.
That would be.
Well, that's what the Raven is.
Yeah, that's why you never see people use Ravens like infested Terrans, like auto turret like that, because you literally can't put them down during a battle because every unit, like the units are running at each other. Where are you going to put the auto turrets down?
There's
in the
literally
battle?
one use for the auto turret. It's when you go mech and they switch to ultra. You put those things, and they, surprisingly enough, they actually tank a lot of damage. So then your turrets kill really fast, the ultras. But that's like the only use I ever found for that thing. True story.
It's actually really exciting to be able to type out LOL and auto turrets and things like that when you're ahead as well.
Oh, Jesus. I feel so shitty because we just fell into the state of the game issue where we discuss a race and then don't have anyone to represent that race.
Don't need anyone.
Well, if anyone's
I don't
here,
feel
just...
bad.
I mean, I really wish we had a Zerg in here, but this is, again, something we talked about earlier where it feels like a lot of Zergs even know and acknowledge the fact that this may be too strong.
The answer is obviously get Idra on the show because he probably doesn't.
Is
No.
he there? We should get him.
He agrees with this, though.
Okay.
It's
No,
what
he
people
doesn't.
don't know.
Are you
yeah,
kidding
oh,
me?
yeah, he messaged me all day. Well, I messaged him saying Simba, and he agrees on it. It's fucking
Really?
sick.
I like
take
how you
offense?
correct yourself and say, no, I message him.
I messaged him. It's sick race.
Oh, God. Was there anything else? We were going to cover this in the Code S portion, but...
I want to talk about Codes.
Yeah, we will. The last thing is that a lot of people were asking me to, since I worked with the event, to talk about what went on with the Twitch-owned 3D things. The truth is, I actually don't know. That goes in with the tech team. I'm too busy producing the event. I guess that sounds like a cop-out, but I didn't even actually know these problems until I started getting tweets. And then I stopped getting tweets, so I guess the problem was fixed. I don't really... Wolf, did you run into a lot of those issues, I guess, to have an unbiased opinion on it?
Are you talking about the issues with... what issues specifically? Because there were some issues.
There were issues... I guess there were lag issues. There was also issues about entering a code for gold members or something like that, and that the emails were delayed. Do you know? I mean, you didn't have a gold pass, right?
I didn't have a gold pass, but there were some lag issues for me on the more so the free stream than the free. They had that free 1080 at first, and I had some audio sync problems on that stream, and I had to keep refreshing. But when I was on the free stream, that's when I had more stuttering problems. Like I would tune in and suddenly I would have like the audio would stop, but the video would keep moving, or vice versa, or sometimes it would just totally shut off and then it would come back up a few seconds later. So this happened to me a few times, and it was kind of annoying. But overall, I felt like it was not tragic. Like it was not an issue that made me like, I'm so frustrated. MLG, I can't watch it. It was just more so, oh, I got to refresh now, or I got to press the little pause button and hit play and hope that everything works. Okay.
All right. So we fixed the show. Just don't pay attention to the overlay. It's royally fucked right now. MoonGlade, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Hey,
How's it
man.
going?
Pretty good.
MoonGlade!
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to hear you too.
So, have you been listening to the show? Do you want to voice any thoughts about the infestor?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a little too strong at the moment, but I think if Zags didn't have the infestor, it would be a very, very hard game for us.
Impossible.
I think it's kind of like our answer to the late game Protoss, because if we didn't have infestors, it would be pretty damn hard for us to deal with death balls, or infestors and broodlords, which is kind of why we're forced to go down that tree every single time. You never see Zergs really win late game with any other composition at all, really.
Well, you're here as a Zerg, and we were talking about is it too strong, and how could it be changed from a Zerg player's perspective? What would you think would be one way that the Infestor might specifically be able to be not nerfed but changed in a way where it seems a little bit more fair? Just from a Zerg perspective, do you think there's any way? Is there any way you've thought of?
I think it was Todd's idea that increasing the energy to 30 could be a good start. Just to see what happens. I mean, obviously it's going to be less infested Terrans, which seems to be a big problem sometimes. I think that's a good start. But I can't really think of any super changes. I mean, like, sure, eggs have armor, but it's rare that people target eggs anyway, because they always auto-target the units behind them. So it's not like they'll just die. And yeah, I think the energy is a good start. I think it should be started like that anyway, and kind of take it from there.
What about the 3 supply?
I don't know about 3 supply, man. That's a bit much.
What about not fungal in interceptors? You can't fungal interceptors.
Do you think it's really used enough, like fungal and interceptors?
Of course, I was watching WCS Asia, and I watched Creator versus this guy Curious. Curious had like only infestors.
That was an amazing game, though, man. I mean, no, sure, at that like that situation, that very, very unique situation, it was abused. But it's rare that you'd see that in a normal game, and I don't know. I guess I don't think carriers are used enough to really warrant it. I mean,
because they suck.
Yeah, but they suck regardless, man. They could be using those interceptors or not.
But they will be a lot better if you couldn't fungal the interceptors, I think.
Yeah, I guess it could help. I mean,
or if interceptors were free.
Whoa, that's really crazy.
That would be good.
But yeah, I don't think it really changed that much, regardless of if fungal worked on them or not. So sure, we could try that.
Keep hosting the show, Major. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, I'm actually serious, man. I'm fixing the overlay problem right now, which has just gone to complete shit. So feel free to continue talking about metagame and whatnot, since we do have racial representation from everyone.
Let's not call it metagame. Let's call it what it is. Complaining about Zerg being OP.
Well, I mean, your word's not mine, Todd. Your word's not mine.
We do have some Zergs doing well at the moment, yes.
But how do you feel in the matchups right now, MoonGlade? In ZVT and ZVP, do you feel Zerg has the upper hand from what you play and from what you see in the tournaments?
I do think Zerg is a bit stronger than Terran at the moment, for sure. I feel like we have a kind of a late game advantage, and early game kind of control with Queens buffed so long ago. ZVP, I do feel like, yeah, I kind of agree with what you guys were saying before. We're weaker against Protoss early game with their pushes. If we don't read it properly and we don't have enough, we go caught out of position. There's a lot of ways to die early to a great number of all-ins. And ZVZ is pretty lame, in my opinion. It's just fungal wars and roaches.
Roach good.
But, roach good, indeed.
Yes.
Fungal good.
Roach better.
People are using early game banelings again in ZVZ though. Maybe it goes back to beta style.
Yeah, it's kind of varies a little bit, but it's nothing too different. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It'd be nice when Heart of the Swarm comes out if it kind of changes up a bit, because I feel like ZVZ's been the same for a very long time.
Also, no one talks about it with creep spread. It's too imba, I think.
Nah, you reckon?
It's like, yes, of course. It's like map hack. What the hell? And it makes you so fast. It makes like timing pushes completely useless if you have creep, I think. And can't micro. You literally can't micro. You get a move. Impossible to micro. You need like sick position, not micro. Just pre-position battle against creep.
Just gonna scan that stuff, man. Could kill it.
You know how long it takes for it to go away? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it takes forever.
They should make it so that EMP removes creep or something.
Whoa, you reckon? Isn't that like
electromagnetic pulse?
Yeah, it's like
We'll just change what it's called. We'll call it Dispel Magic.
This is not Warcraft, man.
Warcraft 3 over, yeah.
It's just the spell or something.
Todd's gonna switch to Terran immediately.
Yeah. But actually, I think somebody explained before, maybe it was Artosis or something. I heard somebody explain why life was so good against Terran, and basically it was partly because against mech, if you go mech, he would have the creep basically knocking at your door by the 10th minute. And it's very good extended play, but yeah, against mech, I think somebody said something like that. Do you
Maybe.
feel?
To be honest, I don't think
Terran
lag.
players feel it's true, or
No.
If
I don't
you if you lose map control as a mech, it becomes like almost impossible to keep the creeps run down.
Yes.
okay. So you need to have Hellions all the time clearing it.
Yes.
Yeah, Hellions and Banshees, but
Yeah.
What
But,
if it disappeared faster? I mean, I'm sure.
yeah,
that
that will help, of course. Right now, it takes forever to disappear. Like forever.
Yeah, it does take a long time. I agree. I think that would be an okay adjustment.
Also,
I
it
mean-
shouldn't like stack when you put multiple creep tumors. It stacks too much. So sick.
Oh.
You mean it
When it
spreads
does-
faster? Is that what you're saying?
And one more thing, you shouldn't be able to cancel creep tumors when they've been attacked. That's complete bullshit, I think.
You reckon? Man, you guys don't like much about Zerg.
Does the EMP actually? I was thinking about this. Does the EMP actually reveal a tumor if you hit it?
No.
no.
I didn't think so.
It
It's just-
uncloaks units. It doesn't.
Or
reveal.
that's
Hmm.
okay. So, okay, that makes sense. So you can't EMP either like a burrowed roach.
No.
I never actually thought about that.
Imagine.
That'd be
Imagine that.
interesting.
They should just make creep tumors not be invisible.
Nah, that would be bad.
That'd be so easy, man.
Yeah.
That'd be way too easy. Hellions can just like suicide them all, like
Yeah,
they do early game if they see it.
be good.
All right, while we're here, is there anything else you guys want to discuss before we move on? Just throwing it out there.
I
Moonglade,
think
what about
Immortal-
you? Are you pissed off at Terran or Protoss? Do you have any griefs?
I'm pissed off at Immortal Lins. I find them really difficult. I don't enjoy fighting Protoss at all when they do that.
We need to watch more Hyun, man.
Yeah, I do. You need to show me where to get some Hyun replays because I feel like it's really, really strong. I'm really looking forward to seeing Partings.
You have to watch
Immortal
it.
Lin.
Watch it. You will see what happens.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's probably my biggest.
Yeah, if you watch it, I think
Pain.
you will see what happens probably.
Yeah.
Hyun versus... Or just watch Pinala versus Hyun. He literally owned two base Immortal really easy.
What did he do
He
to
just
counter it?
sends Zerglings and trap the sentries before they come to his base with speed. And just delay it
fast-
for a lot of time.
fast-
Sounds very simple.
Well, I don't know, but he just shit on him, man.
I don't know that. I mean, that works sometimes. Like you can get like fast speed, like 6-minute gases or something, and get really fast Zerglings and try and gank them in the middle of the map. But if the Protoss gets wind of it, they just wait, and then they come later with an even stronger
If they
army.
come later, you have 50 more supply.
Well,
they're right.
like if they just wait for like some zealots or something, so they're not just sentries and immortals in the middle of the map, and like delay it by like 10 seconds, and then push.
Yeah, but well, it's more than 10 seconds. A warp cycle is like around 40 seconds, depending on what units you make. But
you
it's very important,
sacrifice-
like you need to move out before 10, and you need to go as soon as possible to the Zerg third. Because if you wait
Right.
one more minute, they will have so much more, just because of lava injects, and they will have 3 hatches and with a force on the way. Makes it very difficult.
But if you're going for this sort of fast speedling attack, you really sacrifice a bit early game, or
I
you
don't think-
sacrifice economy and
I
whatnot.
don't think he attacks with the Speedlings. He just makes them at the perfect time to catch the Immortal incoming out. That's what I think he
Okay.
does.
I feel like the Immortal All-In is like the old 1-1-1 of Terran, where like Protosses didn't know how to play against it, so we kept losing
Yeah.
and blaming imbalance, but eventually
It's
You're
not
right,
now.
yeah.
of units to repel it, so we still lose to it from time to time, but for the most part now we kind of know how to play against it, and I think for the Zergs it's going to be the same thing. Once a couple Zergs really figure it out, and some of them already have, everybody's going to be able to copy them, and it's going to be totally different from there.
Yep.
Hmm.
I think.
I hope so. I would like
Just
I like it figured out a bit more.
Takes time, MoonGlade. Keep fighting, man. It's gonna come.
I think
Don't
so.
worry.
What about Terran Moonglade?
Terran,
easy?
I wouldn't say easy, man. I wouldn't say easy. I mean, it's not the hardest matchup, that's for sure. We definitely we're on top of ZBT at the moment. Everyone's
Good.
going mech these days, and I don't know. I think it's just about figuring out what their opening is. If it's going to be Mass Hellion, is it going to be Bio, is it going to be mech? And from there, if you find it early enough, you can make the appropriate army and drone the appropriate amount, and then it's kind of fairly easy. I don't really use lifestyle much with the Ling Infestor, so I can't really comment on how imba that is, but he makes it look really well done, and it's always really scrappy. I feel he always finds like a really nice scrappy style, and he trades with infested Terrans and infestors and Lings against like any kind of combination.
Yeah.
Which
Life goes to.
He's crazy. Definitely wanna. Scrappy means kind of like trading a lot.
It's
Todd, you
like
can ask that in the
you're
show,
playing a
man.
low economy game. Like a lot of bases are mined out, or both players are on low economy, and in that type of situation, he knows how to make like the most out of low amount of resources. Is what like people say when they say that.
That really cost effective?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
cost
asking?
effective,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's just really good at like constant fighting and constant harassment and trading units effectively, and yeah, it's like a really different kind of style to what we're used to.
All right, I think we've
Good.
got it covered. MoonGlade, Major, do you guys want to stick around on the show? Do you guys have to go? What do you?
I wanna
what do you
stay.
got?
I could stick around. It's like 8:30 here. I'm incredibly jet lagged still, so
I love
I
you
got all
guys.
morning.
Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, still got to cover Blizzard WCS, ESWC, LoneStar Clash, GSL Code S, and the G-Star Heart of the Swarm show match event. We have a lot more. QXC. How long do you want the break to be, QXC?
Well,
Yeah, QXC.
I'm really, really hungry.
Well, we can't
Yeah,
take
you
like a
need to eat.
15-minute break, man.
Take a 5-minute break or a 2-minute break, and I will cook really, really quickly.
Okay. We'll be right back when QXC cooks his food. Don't go anywhere. More state of the game in just a couple of minutes. Probably about 5. See you then. All right, guys, welcome back to State of the Game. Let me bring everyone up in the Skype chat. QXC is not back yet. He is still cooking his food. He's not very quick about it, but regardless, we're going to move on and talk about some stuff. Let's see. Blizzard WCS announced their caster lineup. Quite the lineup. I think a lot of people are excited to see that. I still think an announcement of who's doing the production for the final show would be a bigger and more well-received announcement. Because everyone's wondering like who's gonna do the production, what's it gonna look like, what can we expect, but we don't really know. Have you guys heard anything about what's going on?
I actually know who's doing the production, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Ooh,
So
is it? Should we?
Leave
good?
interesting, Wolf.
I mean, I think everybody's gonna assume. I'm just gonna say it because no one gave me an NDA or anything, so I guess I'm okay. But it's gonna be the same company, as far as I know, who did WCS Asia. I may be wrong, but someone told me that. I don't remember who it was, but I think that the thing is they're gonna have a lot more time to prepare this time. So I think, and obviously they recognize the problems they had last time. So I could be actually wrong. And then I'm actually looking through some of my chat logs. I think I'm getting WCS Asia Grand Finals and the Global Finals mixed up, but I have a strong feeling it's going to be the same.
Do you know anything about the internet? Because I'm guessing last time the internet wasn't very good. That's
it
why
was
the stream
terrible.
also weren't of good quality. Do you know if next time it's going to be better?
I don't actually know about that. That's one thing I don't know.
Because last time, well, not last time, WCS Asia, I was watching the stream, and I could notice like lag, like actual in-game lag, not lag of the stream. So I hope it's not that, because that
Yeah,
would
but
be
the
really
stream
annoying.
wasn't of very high quality too.
No, the stream was terrible too, but I mean, the in-game lag is like what most important, I think. And I could see the in-game lag, like it will stop the game for like a few seconds and then gone. So that was really bad.
So what? You play mech and you never attack anyway.
Oh man, I play both.
He plays
I
both.
told you.
man. He plays both.
It's a different venue there, right? So hopefully it'll be better.
Have they said even they did say where the venue is, didn't they? I don't even know what's been announced, what hasn't been announced.
I always get confused because I keep mixing this event with the Asia Grand Finals together. I have so many logs. I don't think I actually know anything, guys. I'm just not gonna say anything.
Wow,
I just have one question about the casters. Why is Wolf not there? He's like my favorite caster as the hot dog brand,
Well,
as they say.
it's really complicated, but I will actually probably be there. I have to do some James Bond stuff to be able to go to China. So we'll see if I can actually do it or not.
Are you
And
mean
that
Mr.
will-
Visa?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're from the US. Yeah, China hates
Yeah.
US. I remember that.
It's really, really complicated because when you live in Korea with a Korean visa, to get a visa to go to China is so complicated. You actually can't do it in Korea. And so, like, I have to travel all over the place to, like, get the documents. And I'm attempting to be there. Now, obviously, they couldn't announce me at that time because it's still not 100% certain, but I will probably be there.
And what about Caldor? How did you do?
He's from Germany. They
Yeah,
don't
but
care.
it's the same thing. He's in Korea.
He has a slightly different, like, it's based on when you got your visa in Korea, and it's like really complicated to explain, but he has a slightly different situation to me, so he was able to get it earlier.
Nice.
So the event, by the way, is at the Shanghai Expo Mart, former African Pavilion of World Expo in Shanghai. The address is 69 Bocheng Road, Shanghai, China. So there you go.
Now we know
that
what it
means
is.
nothing to me, but
Google Maps.
yeah, I guess Google Maps it if you want to see what it looks like. If you need the information and plan on attending, there you go. But yeah, that event draws closer and closer. I think more and
Well,
more
it's pretty
people
close
are,
already.
Yeah, I think more and more people are starting to realize like how important that is for it to be incredible. So we'll see. That's going down next weekend on the 17th and 18th.
How many streams is there going to be at this event? Because I'm looking at the caster list. It's like 9 people right now.
It has to be a
be
lot,
a lot.
unless they're planning like 3
Yeah.
games per caster.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I haven't seen schedules yet, but I think they're planning on covering almost every game. I'm pretty sure.
Good.
So I think
It's
there may
a,
be
it's a
multiple streams, but I don't
32-man
know.
double limb bracket, right?
No, I heard they told me it's like groups like GSL style.
Yeah, I heard groups too.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what they told me.
Isn't there already a bracket out though?
No, there's no bracket.
No.
I could have sworn I've seen like people tweeting pictures of. Maybe it's just showing pictures of the competitors and how they got there. but-
Yeah,
There's
there's
like a
yeah,
roadmap.
Okay, is that
for
the
it.
picture I'm talking about? Because I
yeah.
I see a bunch of pictures on Twitter of like all the competitors, and I never really looked at it closely because I was like, oh, I'll look at it later. But
It's like the players that qualify from each region. I think it's a picture you were saying. Which, by the way, has 3 turns in the whole tournament, so we'll see.
Oh yeah,
And
it
you're
says
one of
there's
them.
group stages on the Liquipedia
there's
page.
4 Terrans. There's not
There's
3.
3.
You like
3.
don't count one of those Terrans as a Terran. I'm like, I don't know, maybe Major's not really a Terran.
Yeah, sure, bro. Sure, bro.
Yeah, it does show group A through H, and then a bracket as well after that, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see how that is all worked out. Apollo.
Well, if they're gonna do groups, then there's definitely not gonna be all the matches cast. That's basically impossible with that many groups. It's
Apollo
there's no
said it's a
even
double
match
limb bracket 32, and then it's been announced, and then it's on the U.S. BattleNet somewhere. I hope he just didn't get me in trouble by breaking his own.
So there's a bracket out? Where's the bracket?
I don't think there's a bracket. I think they just said that it's a double limb bracket.
Oh my god,
Really?
play creator first round. Oh my god.
Hey, but I like how the races are shown on the Liquipedia here. It looks like the ultimate showdown, Zerg against Protoss, and there's like a few Terrans tangled in between.
Yeah. Let me show that to
Yes.
people real quick on the
We died.
looked up overlay. Yeah, it is kind of a who's who of ZMP, and then Terran's just like, well, fuck it, guys, we don't want to go to Shanghai. Like, let's not send the best players there.
To me, it's really cool, this tournament, because I feel like it's the first. I mean, you can talk about WSG all you want, but it's just not quite the same. Like, it feels like the first real legitimate worldwide tournament where everybody from each region actually is represented. And if you just look at that list of players and look at the flags and see who's there, there's some players you might not have expected to make it who made it, and there's so many stories in there. And I think that's so cool to see. You know, people coming from all over the world, and they all have their shot in this tournament. I think that's quite awesome. Obviously, Koreans are going to be favored, I'd say, by most people. But if there's any sort of upset, it would be incredible. And even if there's not, it's just the fact that they're all there. That's really cool.
Of course there's gonna be upset. You see, all the Korean are Protoss. Then we have a bunch of Zergs. So there's gonna be a lot of upsets, I think.
Oh wow, Life's not there. That
Of course not.
MVP's not. Man, they're missing like the big names.
Live lost in the qualifiers, actually. I don't remember the who.
MVP went to IEM instead of participating in that.
Oh.
No, he played the first round. He lost. Then he forfeit.
Yeah, he was in losers bracket, so he forfeited.
So
Yeah.
Oh wow.
QXC and Major, I'll just throw this out there. I just want to know who's the best Terran in the world right now.
Bogus.
QXC.
Bogus.
I don't know. I haven't even seen those games, so I don't know.
You need to pick someone, man.
You got to pick someone.
I have to pick one person.
Bogus.
He's saying bogus for those.
Bogus. Bogus.
Yeah.
It's the new.
Sick, man.
Just gonna keep repeating it until you agree.
Innovation, not inspiration. Innovation.
Innovation.
Innovation. Innovation.
Isn't that the slogan of like some brand or something?
I don't know.
Like LG or something?
So that's an incredible miracle.
I don't know, but he's a sick
Okay.
bird. He has like the best timings I've ever seen. And he hasn't even been playing for that long.
I think Artosis was casting his games or something like that, and he was going crazy about it.
Yeah, no, he was giving him shit, so I was really mad. Because
Ah.
he literally doesn't know how sick this guy is, actually.
Was that
Just
the
saying.
game where what was the game? Was that maybe last night where someone was going double factory Hellions and like a slow Ling got into his main base and like saw
Baby?
it and then he lost the game? Oh yeah, it was Baby. I was just like,
Yeah,
well,
that was-
Baby
this guy
played
was doing
terrible
so much
last
shit,
night.
but I was like,
That was sick.
damn, like how do you? There's like one thing you have to do when you do this build. It's like a secret build, and then you just like let a slow Ling walk in your main. I guess
He was the
then
best decision, I guess.
it just lose the game.
Yeah, he wasn't paying
A
attention.
few strange things happened in the recent games. Did you see Squirrel not storming with like his only one Templar against Mass Marines and SCVs on Cloud
Yeah,
Kingdom?
that was against Bogus.
Yeah. Well, how could you not storm this? Like, I know it probably wouldn't have mattered, but
I don't know, probably
we
he
are
had
missing
the
some
army.
facts here.
He
We
had
need
the
to
army
send-
in his hotkey, like the whole army, one hotkey, and he couldn't storm. I don't know. That was pretty sloppy, I think, too.
Good points.
QXC, what are you eating, by the way?
Yeah, that looks good.
Here, I'll show you.
You didn't make that.
Yeah, there's no what?
Complexity.
Yeah,
What the fuck? What do you think I was doing?
That's
in
pretty
5
good.
minutes?
Tell he made it because there's those weird noodles in there that don't look like they belong there.
Did you just put
Yeah.
that in the microwave? Is that what you did?
No, I
Yeah.
just cooked this. Are you kidding me?
negative.
Some fucking bullshit, man.
Next time I'll bring my webcam.
Stop trying to impress your friends, QXC. You microwaved it.
Oh my god.
Micro.
No, I bet he did cook it actually. I can tell by I'm telling you those weird noodles. What would
Yeah,
you
no,
who
take
else
a-
would have
take a
made that with
noodle.
those noodles?
You really
Those noodles
think?
are pretty
Do you
weird.
see that? That's like whole wheat macaroni noodles with like stir fry.
Yeah, that's exactly what
And
that looks
bacon.
like.
I bet it's the thing he ate yesterday and he couldn't finish it. So he's like,
Exactly. I agree with Princess. It's been microwaved. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
WCS next weekend. ESWC is the next topic. It was a terrible event. Apparently, I didn't watch any of it. I read a lot of stuff about it. Some of the issues were casters not being invited to the games, and they began game one. It's kind of crazy.
What?
I heard that there were just poor admins all around. There were a couple of issues of press not being allowed into the gaming area unless they were escorted in by security guards, and even then they were select guests. So just seemed like an all-around kind of a not-so-good event. Mana ended up taking first, 4GG second, third was Stefano. The most interesting thing to me that I took away from this in the brief 10, 15 minutes that I read, there was an interview with Richard Lewis that Stefano did, which was actually quite good. I think a lot of the interviews Richard did from the event were awesome. He says two quotes was, "I can't hide anything from people," which I thought was very interesting to see him respond to kind of all the stuff that's been happening to him lately. And also that he feels isolated in Evil Geniuses, which that just seems really interesting to me because that's kind of the second thing that I've heard in regards to that. The first one being that when he was at the EG house, he kind of kept to himself. He wanted to go do things outside, and then the EG players didn't want to do that. They just kind of want to stay inside the house. So
maybe that's a EG course. Maybe.
maybe that's the EG curse. What do you guys think about that? I mean, when you join a team and you feel isolated with that team, is that how much can that affect your play? We'll just kind of ask. That's kind of to everyone. So whoever wants to jump in.
Well, it affects a lot, I think. No?
Part of it depends on if your team is really your friends. Like, I know some people join teams and they never really talk to anyone on them because the core people that they practice and talk to were never on the team to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just keep practicing and talking to those people and they kind of pretend that they're not on the team. But that's kind of weird. I agree with Major. Like, the team should be your friends, kind of your, like, new family, especially when you're going to events. Those are kind of the default people that you would be hanging out with and doing things with, and if you don't feel comfortable with them, then that's not so good.
Not very good.
Yeah, I think also in the interview, Richard was asking him to comment on kind of Idra and In Control, and I think he said the same thing, that he doesn't talk with them very much. He doesn't consider them to be like really close friends. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing that we'll see what happens kind of in the future with that. But
Well, I think Stefano has always been the quiet type. I was on Millennium before, and he was in the team at the same time, and I don't think he talks too much to his teammates, or maybe only one or two of them. When I was in Millennium, it was Tystar he was hanging out the most with. He was playing 2v2 with him. But yeah, as far as practice goes, internal practice, I don't think he does that too much. I think what he probably meant is that most of the members of EG, they are living in the EG house, or they go there very often, but he doesn't.
right.
And right now, he was suspended for a month, so he went to Korea, so I'm guessing he was pretty much all by himself. So that's probably where this answer came from.
It was Sluggy. Slug, he was there.
What?
What?
Slug. He was
Slog?
with Stefano.
Yes, Slug. But he's not in EG. It has nothing to do with what he said.
Oh, Major. I linked the interview. Go give it a watch. It actually only has like 3.5k views. It's actually quite good. So go check that out. Good stuff coming out of Richard Lewis. I think a lot of the other interviews he did were also very, very good. But let's move on because ESWC generally just a poor
Hey,
event.
but I was really sad about the tournament though. Is
Why
WCS or what?
ESWC.
Because for GG lose.
Yes. He
He's
ended
a
up-
sick player. Why he lose?
why didn't you watch the games?
So I was actually standing in MLG, watching. I think who I was watching? Master player, and I couldn't watch that.
Ah.
Master is sick.
Also,
So, I missed it.
is Stefano getting third something to even talk about? A lot of people expected him just to win this tournament outright. Is that a big surprise for him just getting third and not taking the whole thing?
No, for GG is better, dude. Well, he
For
lost
GG.
Hannah.
4GG did knock Stefano out of
No. The
something.
DreamHack.
Yeah.
But that's not the. Also, why the final was best of 3? That's pretty bad, I think.
Well,
Is
There was a time where Stefano used to beat Mana all the time, but these days, I guess for at least their last 2 encounters, Mana just seems to have Stefano's number because he beat him in the previous DreamHack as well, the one that he won.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now in ESWC, he beat Stefano again. I'm not sure it's the first time it was in semi, but yeah, he beat him in semi, and then he went on to win the tournaments.
yeah.
So I guess beating Stefano late in the tournament means Mana is going to win the tournament. But yeah, it was very impressive by Mana to play this well.
Yeah.
After he returned from Korea, he didn't play that many tournaments, and the one he played, he didn't do that well in. But I was really happy to see how well he did in this tournament. And even though I haven't seen the games, I'm pretty sure he played really well to beat those players.
Yeah, he's a sick 2-base immortal in player, dude. Sickest one.
Hey, why don't you manner, man?
before we
That's
move
what he
on,
did, dude.
Major, be quiet. No more BM.
Okay. It's not DM, it's what he did.
Before we move on, Panda Tank, our star from last week's show, ended up actually getting second in his group, beating Damaga. And then he went on into bracket play, and I think he beat someone else. He beat... he took a game off Stefanos. That was a 1-2 loss. So, and I think he actually just moved to the Razor house. So,
Yeah, I heard.
I don't know whether like people listen to State of the Game, we're like, guys, we need to get this guy over to the Razor
I need to
house.
I need to know. The most important thing to me is why did he name himself Panda Tank?
That's a
is
sick
such
name.
a weird.
The
It's such
best
a
one.
weird ID.
It's a pretty
Princess,
cool.
I mean-
you need to be something Tank. Can you change your name for WCS?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to change it?
My name is Cute Angel.
Shit, just calls himself like Water Tank.
Oh God. What would your tank name be, Princess? Or
I don't know.
Major? Would it be Major Tank? That'd be pretty good.
That was pretty
Princess
bad.
Tank.
Princess Tank.
Princess Tank?
I like that one.
No, I don't know, man. I need to think about this. Roach Tank, because Roach is a tank in itself.
All right, guys, we figured it out. Major's
Thank
new
you
name
very much, or
exclusive.
something like that. I don't know.
Coming up,
Anyways, yeah, he did okay, I guess.
you did okay. Coming up this weekend, we have the LoneStar Clash 2. An insane group of players here. Crank, Baby Knight, Naniwa, Todd, Thorzane, Pulp, Bomber, QXC, Gonzi, STC, Stefano, Rhett, Violet, Sheth, Hawk. It's the people that run this. I think it's the Rosen brothers. Is that correct? Can you guys correct me?
I don't know.
I think it's the Rosen brothers, but they are so smart for putting on this this event the weekend after MLG because they basically just get all the best players from MLG, invite them down. Doesn't really cost them that much because I think they're housing most of them down there in Austin. The casters are Total Biscuit and Day 9, as well as Axel Toss, and I think Seltzer is going to be doing the... Oh, no, Seltzer and Anna Prosper will be doing the hosting. This will be the first event that Stefanos played since he's been suspended, right? Or no, I guess ESWC, but stateside. We'll have to see how that goes. How do you guys... Todd, are you worried about this event? What are your thoughts on it going into it?
I'm really happy that I get to take part in this tournament. So thanks for the people who invited me for inviting me. Thanks to Axel Toss for letting me stay at his house prior to the tournament. At first, I was kind of confident because I've been practicing a lot these days, but I don't know, the last 2 days I've been laddering a lot, and I just got destroyed by Gonzi today on ladder. Bomber beat me. He even went mech. So I'm not sure what to think right now. I guess I would just go there and try to play my best. But realistically, I feel like the Koreans in this tournament are really good, and it's going to be really hard to beat them. So I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of Zerg usually, but these days Terran is really hard to play against, and all the Protosses who are in this tournament are really good at PvP. So basically everybody's super hard for me. I'm feeling a bit like the underdog here, so I guess I have nothing to lose, and we're gonna see what happens. But yeah, I have Baby Knight next to me actually here, and come say hi.
Oh, I saw a hand. Hello.
And he's very confident and he's practicing, so I'm watching him a little bit and trying to get some inspiration out of him. So maybe that helps me.
Nice.
Watch you get him the first round. You versus Baby Knight.
Do you know the
first round.
brackets yet, Todd? Have they shown that to you? Or are they doing
No,
like
no, it's not up yet.
Okay. Do you know if they're gonna post them pre-event, or are they gonna how's it gonna be done? Are they gonna do it
I
like
think
live
it
on
would-
stream?
I think it might be pre-event, but maybe one day before, something like that.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure really.
Well, they'll probably post them tonight, right when the show ends, or something silly like that. Major, it says you were unable to attend, man. What's happening?
Practice WCS.
It's
I didn't
weekend.
know it was. I didn't know it was this weekend, so that's why I pulled out after I knew it was this weekend.
So who's your replacement?
Todd,
Okay.
you say, man. He's
Todd,
my replacement.
you didn't thank Major, man. You just thanked Axel Toss. Why didn't you thank
Yeah,
He's
Major?
not going to help me. Like, I mean, he's not going to help me. He's just doing it for himself, so I don't need to thank him.
Is it just a coincidence that we have Axel Toss and Axelav casting together and they both have Axe in their name? Is that just a really crazy weird
I
coincidence?
think what happened is that MLG saw Tastosis. They needed a good caster name, so they got the Axe Brothers.
The Axe Brothers.
It's like a double-sided axe.
That's very sick.
Yes, it's like a double-sided axe. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, QXC, you're attending. Who do you think, or who's your biggest opponent here? Who are you most afraid of facing?
Both.
Me.
I'm not afraid of anyone. I just want to pull some upsets. I know I haven't been doing very well in a lot of things recently, and so I just want to go and show some good games.
Okay. Man, everyone's like running for president today on the cast. Todd's thanking all these people. QXC says he just wants to show good games.
Well, we both
got
supposed
JP
we
is
both
just
lost to
trying
go
to
to
make
user
sure
at
that-
MLG, so after that, you need to start from scratch.
Sure.
Take it one day at a time.
MoonGlade, are you going to be watching this event?
Yeah, absolutely. They actually asked me if I wanted to play at MLG, but unfortunately I had WCS, so I really wanted to focus on that.
Good.
Yeah, but I would have loved to play in it, but I'll definitely be watching. It has some good Zergs in it, so it
Who
should
are you
be
most
great.
excited to see?
Violet. I'm a big Violet fan, especially after you kicked my ass at MLG.
Yeah, that, what was that? 3-1, 4-1? What was that?
4-1, man.
What happened?
Well, first best of three, it was pretty early in the day, so it was okay. He pretty much just outskilled me. Second best of three, I was ready for bed. That was like at night. MLG goes for so long, and by nighttime, jet lag really kicked in, and I was like half asleep in the booths playing. Not to take anything away from him, he kicked my ass regardless, but yeah, I didn't play my best game for sure. ZVZ is kind of like my weakest at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, who takes the tournament in your eyes, MoonGlade? Who takes LoneStar?
Whew. I reckon Violet's gonna take it, man. I'm just gonna stick with Violet.
Hometown hero? I guess not really
Hometown hero.
hometown, but he lives in College Station. He's very close to it. I guess we'll just go around here, choose a winner. Todd, who takes it? Are you going to choose yourself?
I think a Terran. There's 4 Korean Terran, then there's Thorzane as well, QXC. So very good Terran representation. We're used of seeing a lot of Zergs in those tournaments, but here I'm gonna go with a Terran. Maybe Bomber played really well at MLG. Gonzi also is really good. Pulse always plays well. I think he won one of the LoneStar Clash and took second in the other, so one of them, I guess.
Wolf, who takes it?
Wolf.
gotta unmute his mic, guys. He hasn't figured this out yet.
Yes.
I didn't really.
There's
sorry.
the beeping.
I want to say, I want to say like a lesser known player. It's not like a lesser known
The
player.
only like
but a
lesser known
non-favorite.
player here is Hawk.
Well,
Are you saying Hawk?
I don't know. Like I feel like it's gonna be someone like Violet. You know,
Oh.
he'll have like his, like he is like the Texas guy. Maybe he can do it. I feel like there's gonna be a story that's like that because the player pool here is pretty strong, but it's not like we don't have a ton of Koreans at this event, so I don't know. I think it's going to be a pretty cool event, especially if you're a foreign fan. You want a foreign player to do well. I think a foreign player might get a top place in this tournament.
QXC, your pick?
I'm not gonna predict that I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Fuck you, I'm gonna win.
Okay, QXC says QXC's gonna win it. Major, for the realest of real picks, who is it? Who wins it?
I pick Pult with 0 map loss.
Pulp.
Wow. That's a bold
Restricted.
prediction.
Oh
Underrated.
god. What time does this start tomorrow? Oh, I guess it starts Saturday. So Saturday morning, I'm sure. Should be a fun event though. For more information, you can go over to, I believe it's tespa.com, maybe something like that. Just go to Team Liquid. What am I saying? Go check that out. Last topic of the show is going to be well, first off, before I even jump into this, did anyone actually watch the HotS Swarm stuff last night, like I said to?
No.
It was really choppy, but I did catch the game of Rain against Nesty.
Wolf?
I tried to tune in, but it like kept cutting out for me. I couldn't watch it, so I actually don't have internet right now. I said this earlier before, but I tried to watch on my tablet, and it kept cutting out. So I was like, I don't know what to do, so I couldn't watch it.
QXC, you waved your hands jubilantly.
I watched 2 of the games.
Okay. Moonglade,
2.5.
did you happen to catch any of it?
I think I caught Nesty against Rain.
Sick. We could talk about some. What did you guys think? I thought you missed. Go back and watch Rain versus MVP. That match was actually awesome.
Was it? What did he do?
It was basically like Heart of the Swarm mech versus Protoss with a bunch of Tempest. So basically,
Was it?
Rain just built Tempest every game, pretty much. Isn't that what he did against ST as well?
Yeah, he ended up like that for sure.
Yeah, it is.
He had like
But he didn't mass Tempest. He added them as support to his ball. But I was actually really impressed by Rain against Nesty. I don't know how much Heart of the Swarm he played or if he studied the game.
Yeah.
But he looked very solid in the game, even though it's brand new. And he did a few very smart things, like adding Storm before going for Mothership. I mean the real Mothership, not the Mothership core. So basically he added Storm and a couple Tempests to his ball. And that's really what you need to do against Zerg, in my opinion, in Heart of the Swarm. Like, I've played so much Heart of the Swarm, and it took me a long time to figure this out. I feel like Rain played 0 games, and he basically figured out more than me already in the game. So that's how I felt watching this game.
Oh, man. Unfortunately, the VODs for that aren't up, or I'd be showing it to you guys. But when they do come up, if you have I think it's going to require a membership. Go check out the matches tonight. It's going to be Last versus MC, or Last MC and Jadong. I believe every single player plays every single other player in here.
Yeah,
so.
it's like one game against everyone plays everyone.
Yeah, actually, all these matches are great. The next night is going to be Flash Parting Effort, and then Prime Jangbi and DRG, or sorry, Marine King, Jangbi and DRG for the final night. So should be a lot of fun. Last night definitely was. They did have like a caster match. It was Jasado versus Firebat Hero last night. I think Rain ended up kind of taking the series, so to speak, taking out MVP and Nesty. Then MVP beat Nesty as well, which I didn't see. But it's awesome. Go check out the VODs. It's kind of a preview of what's going to hopefully be in Heart of the Swarm. Wolf?
It's kind of funny because you have this tournament that I think Major said really well, or I mean not Major, sorry, Todd. So many names on my screen right now. Todd said earlier, it's like he played one game and figured it out so fast. It's really interesting to see how these players who, basically none of these players who you just described have been playing Heart of the Swarm because they're full-time players. That's why they're so good. That's why it's so exciting to hear the names. And to see them just like experiment, they're like playing in a tournament, quote unquote, and just like trying to figure it out. It definitely makes for some cool games. I'm definitely gonna watch all the VODs. I really wanted to be at the event, but because of my casting schedule, I wasn't able to go there. But I recommend watching it. I'm gonna watch all of it.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on talking about CodeS, the final topic here.
So sick. Good.
Do what, Major?
Good. Let's go. I'm ready.
What are you excited to talk about CodeS for?
Well, we're gonna talk about real games.
Okay, we'll start it off, man. You're so excited. Let's go. What are we talking
All right.
about?
Let's go.
You're supposed to start talking about something, Major.
No, I'm waiting. You put the tone, and then I add the symphony.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Last night, Group H was not that exciting. Didn't enjoy it that much. Group G, though, did have Bogus, Major.
Sick player. So sick.
What was exciting about that group for you?
Okay, first of all, first game against Linux,
There we go.
he died to two really weird builds. Like game 2 was like a Nidus with Roach Queen, and he didn't seem to know what to do against that because he's like recent Twitch, like he hasn't been played for that long. But like against Squirtle and Keen, he literally used A move and both. Really sick player. Like he's so good, so good. My favorite turn by now. By far.
Wait, so he's so good he A-moved? You were like, he's so good.
He A-moved, dude.
He died to 2 weird builds and then he A-moved and he's so awesome.
Yeah, he A-moved Squirtle and Keen. Literally A-move.
So you're being sarcastic when you say it's really good, or?
No.
No.
What he's
hell?
saying. What he's saying is that he was in such a good spot
That he
that
just
his army was
A-moved
so
and won.
big that all he literally had to do was A move and win.
Okay.
Yes.
So how was
Well, I
this
guess
innovative,
how
Major?
did he get to that spot?
What do you say? JP, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. What do you say?
I was saying, what was so innovative about his play? You
Well,
said he
his
was-
timings were like, basically, this is how I like to put it. He's like the improved version of 4GG. 4GGs are really sick. Then we have the improved version of 4GG, so it's a lot sicker. His timings are really sharp, and his builds are like also really sharp. He's like a really sick timing attacker. Like he actually knows when to attack, which really few players know in StarCraft 2, I think.
Okay.
So that's what I really like about him.
Okay. MoonGlade, have you been watching a lot of CodeS?
I've been catching a few games. Unfortunately I missed Burgers vs. Lenark, but I did watch last night, I believe, and it was very underwhelming. So I kind of forgot it all already.
Well, last night.
Life actually,
last night.
Life played last night, didn't he?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's why it was
he played-
underwhelming. He just shit over everyone.
He really did. He made Baby look pretty bad.
Those games were terrible. The second
Yeah.
game. Second game
It kind
was
of felt
bad.
like Life could really just do whatever he wanted, and he'd just end up winning regardless.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did like a temple, and it just completely did absolutely nothing, like a temple usually does, and
Yeah.
he just won it anyway. So
Yeah, it was a good
It's
night
so
for
impressive.
Young. Actually, last night, just joining Axiom, he did make his first appearance as the team, and now he's going to be in round of 16. So good job to him.
Good
as
job
well
for
as
him.
Axiom. Yeah.
Who he beat? Vampire and...
Vampire
Oh.
Baby. Wait. Let's see.
No, he beat Vampire and Vampire again. I think.
Yes, you were right. And then he lost 2-0 to Life.
Yes.
So Life
Stanford.
just 4-0'd last night and just got straight through. Ryung went 4-4 for the night. 2-1 overall.
Yes.
But MoonGlade, the most interesting player for you in the round of 32, who was it?
well, I was always really keen for Life. Like, he's just got such a unique style compared to any other Zerg at the moment, I feel. So I always go out of my way to watch him. So yeah, pretty much just Life. Even though his games weren't that great, he still won them pretty convincingly.
Todd, have you been watching a lot of CodeS?
Sadly not. About to pass, but somehow it's on Twitch and owned now.
Yeah, it's kinda weird.
The stream. So
Well,
it's
just think and watch.
it's not very good quality, so I prefer to wait for the VODs and watch them. But the thing is, I don't like watching the VODs of Protoss losing. So that's all there is right now.
Yeah.
Only
I
partying
remember
and
I saw
Yeah?
your tweet, like a Zerg, 2 Protosses and a Terran walk into a bar or something like that. It's pretty funny. I
yeah.
thought.
It's an old joke. You remember when MVP made it to the finals and there was 3
Yeah,
Protosses
yeah.
in Sim against him? Somebody used to make the joke like 3 Protoss and MVP walk into a bar. Like who comes out? So yeah, I just copied this joke a little bit. But yeah, right now it's Protosses are not doing very good, so since I like to watch VODs and I don't like to watch Protoss losing, I didn't watch that many VODs. I did watch Parting. He played pretty impressively, but I didn't catch up on Creator against the Terrans yet, because Creator got crushed by Don Gregu. I'm most interested in PvZ, but sadly, I'm losing all of those right now. And I guess Vampire did beat Baby yesterday. I didn't watch that, but I'm gonna watch the VODs later on. Well, what did you think, Juan? Vampire Baby?
Creator.
Should I watch it?
I didn't watch those games, sadly. I watch everything but that.
And Squirtle went 0-4. I was pretty surprised by this.
He had to play bogus, man. Understandable.
There we go again.
Actually, yeah, I remember Vampire did some pretty interesting PvT last night, going like triple upgrades at the same time and stuff. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Huh. Wolf, when do you guys choose? The round of 16 is chosen by players, right? It's not automated?
Yeah, there's another group stage. I believe it's on Saturday. Let me actually look that up, but I'm pretty sure it's on Saturday. It's either on Saturday before GSTL or it's like on Friday before GSTL, but I remember it's right before GSTL. Yeah.
The group selection?
It's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So DRG's in
like
Group
it's
A.
gonna be,
oh, go ahead.
I don't know why this is like suddenly not in my calendar anymore, but
We'll keep looking for it. I'll just.
Well, is it Marine King, DRG, Life, and someone else as the
yeah,
head
so
groups?
DRG's Group A, Marine King's Group B, C is Parting, and then Life is in Group D.
Okay.
So
it's actually it's at 1:10 p.m. Korean Standard Time, so like 5 hours before the GSL normally is today. So wherever that is for you guys, time zone wise.
So I guess.
So it's like coming up in about like 5 hours from now.
Well, next week on the 15th, all of these matches will be done. So here's our homework, guys. You get to watch some Code S round of 16, and then next week we'll come back and discuss it. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, as long as I'm not on a secret mission in China, then like.
Oh right, yeah, you're gonna be James Bonding it up.
JP, you going to China?
No, I turned it down, man.
Why?
Because I don't want to travel 20 hours on coach.
Damn, you're expensive.
Yeah, I'm expensive. The last thing I want to talk about, it's very interesting to me to see GSL on Twitch because no one's really known what the numbers are for them. And now we're kind of seeing them. And have you seen the numbers over the course of the past couple of days? Anyone on the show?
I think it doesn't show they disabled it.
No, you can see them, but I don't know like how actual representative they are.
You have to do this like weird roundabout thing, right, where you look at the other numbers of the streams that are around it, and kind of like you take the higher number and the lower number and kind of figure it out that way. That's the only way to see them, right?
Yeah. So they've been averaging like 8 to like 13K.
Yeah, it's an easier way to find it. You guys know how? You guys go to Team Liquid, you put your mouse over the stream, and you see how many viewers.
No, it doesn't show anymore, I think.
Yeah, well, it used to show.
Yeah. At first it was showing, and I think they had 8,000 like the first day.
It's definitely gone down, I think. At least last night's was down. But I guess I was expecting bigger numbers than that. I don't know why.
I think some people just like me might not like that the quality seems to be lower than usual.
Maybe.
So we just wait for the
different. You guys are talking about Twitch numbers specifically too, right? But
yes.
it's on and Twitch, so
but no one watched
a lot of
European
European
let's
viewers.
Be honest here.
Well, a lot of European viewers might have problems with Twitch. I've heard.
1,000 people watched on Owned, guys. We have like 9 to 10.
Why is it on Twitch, by the way? Why did they switch from their regular stream?
No, because they got problems with their server.
Yeah, the hurricane knocked out data centers in the eastern coast, I think, and fucked shit up. That was the official statement. It fucked shit up. I don't know the official.
Hey, JP.
What's that?
Who's gonna win Code S? Who's going to win?
Who's gonna win Code S?
Mm-hmm.
I would say Life.
No.
You ready?
Is it gonna be Bogus?
Bogus, of course.
Is that who wins? Hold on. If Bogus gets put into Group D, can Bogus beat Life?
Bogus beat anyone. No problem.
Oh man, if that actually comes to fruition, then fuck me, man.
Yeah.
What happens if it doesn't? Is Major gonna apologize?
Are you gonna apologize to us, Major, for your incorrect?
No. If he loses to a Zerg, the Zerg's gonna have to apologize for beating a good player out.
All right, Idra.
Okay. All right. I think we're done with the show. With what, if you can even, I don't know what happened. The show, people just kept joining. MoonGlade, let's start with you, man. Do some shout outs here.
Sure. Shout out to my team, Gamecom NV, the Aussie team that went over to MLG. Bunch of cool guys. My sponsors, Horizon and Frag Labs and Plantronics. Shout out to the C community if they're up this early listening to me. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for randomly coming in. Todd,
I love you.
Princess.
No,
Loves you.
can I be last?
Yeah, you could be last.
Thank you.
Todd, you got some shout outs?
Yeah, thanks to, again, the LoneStar Clash people for inviting me, even if I'm just a replacement for a Major. And thanks to Axeltos for having me at his house. Thanks to our sponsors, Rush Oddities, Twitch.tv, and Das Keyboard now. Pretty awesome keyboards. Thanks to you for having me on the show. And yeah,
Problem,
that's
buddy.
it.
Thank you for coming on. Wolf, it's 7 a.m. or some stupid time.
It's
over
like
there.
8:15.
Jesus.
I've been here for like now 4 hours and 10 minutes, but I want to thank eNature PC for being so quiet, so I could have this talk in the PC bomb without having any problems. And just you guys can follow me on Twitter at ProxyWolf. I don't have any special contest for anyone to vote for or anything like that this week.
All right. QXC shout outs.
Big thanks to Complexity Gaming, sending me to Dallas. Thanks to LoneStar Clash for inviting me. Hope I can put out some good games. Big thanks to Complexity sponsors, Creative, Sound Blaster, PNY, Gamma Labs for making the house possible. And check me out on Twitter, Cole_QXC, and thank you, JP, for having me on the show again.
Thank you for coming on. Everyone's Twitter except for MoonGlade's and Major are on the screen right now. MoonGlade, what is your Twitter? Isn't it just MoonGlade?
At MoonGlade AU.
Okay. Princess, Major, Q.
Yeah?
What's your Twitter?
I don't have a Twitter.
Oh, right, you deleted it. I forgot about that. Awesome.
Mhm.
All right, what are your shout-outs, Major?
I want to thank Das Keyboards, Twitch, Rush Oddities. I also want to thank you, JP, for having me on the show. That's really lovely. And the last shout out is to Wolf and his hair for being the trendsetter in the esports community.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I don't even know what the fuck happened on this show.
I can't really respond to that.
I don't know how to respond to that. The last thing I do want to mention is the who's doing this? Basically, right now there's this huge hurricane relief right now over at Twitch.tv. I think it's tuned in November 8th, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Twitch.tv/CS Star League, and all of the proceeds are going to help people out who were kind of affected by the hurricane. So if you're watching this, go over and watch it right now. I believe it's on. Let's just Twitter or Twitch bomb them. Just say state of the game, says hi or something like that. I don't know, but go over there, tell them hi, watch an ad or two. They've got matches actually going on as well. Chef versus Polt a little bit later today. The CSL Canadian Champions versus CSL Second Place is going on. Then some more matches later tonight, and then another match at Sin versus Stardust a lot later tonight. 100% of the proceeds will be going to the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund by Red Cross. So awesome stuff. You can go check out more information over on Team Liquid. What? Who is that?
The hurricane sucks. That's really unfortunate that happened.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So go check them out, guys. That has been it for State of the Game. VOD will be up here pretty soon. Probably do a show next week. Look for more details via my Twitter. Follow the channel on your way out. I'm going to run a couple ads here to close out the show. We will see you guys. This awkward mic. Oh, yeah, well, if your webcam sucks, don't ever go back to that piece. Well, don't say this, but what is wrong with the webcam? Did you ever figure it out?
What webcam?
I think it's just it's something that because the USB I'm using, which is the only USB I can plug stuff into on this PC, is next to the where I plug in my mic. I think it might be related. It might be messing with the wiring or something. So
Okay. Well,
Yo,
regardless. What?
Can I be in the next? Because the next I go WCS, and I love you, so I want to be with you more.
Wait. You mean on the 22nd?
No, the next. Well, the next one. When is it?
The
Like 15th?
15th
Yeah.
is next week. Are you going to be in town on the 15th?
Yeah, it will be WCS. So next.
Well, the next is Thanksgiving, so I probably won't do a show.
Do a show.
It's Thanksgiving,
After
man.
Bogus gets destroyed in GSL, you
Yeah,
can
we're gonna
invite
put
one,
bogus.
We'll see,
Well,
Major.
We'll see.
I will keep
I'd
your
like-
love in my
I
mind.
love
though,
you.
and we'll see. Okay.
Very
Thank
love
you.
you.
Thank you guys for watching. We're out. This has been State of the Game, or I don't even know. Bye.
Bye.